Greetings of International Day for Monuments and Sites. On behalf of Sri Aurobindo Society, Union Territory of Puducherry, I welcome you all for today's celebration and today's discussion on a very important subject, that is the monuments and sites of Puducherry, history, culture, architecture, and international recognition as Pondicherry as a World Heritage City. So, on behalf of Aurobindo Society, I welcome you all for this initiative. As all of you know that on 18th, every year on 18th of April, the ICOMS celebrates this International Day for Monuments and Sites to create awareness about the rich heritage, which has twofold its nature in is cultural and natural. And it is really one of the unique examples how heritage is part of the life of a civilization of the people. When we talk about the World Heritage Day, what exactly it is? There are 1,157 properties, 43 transboundaries, 167 state parties, 55 in danger lists, 900 cultural, 218 natural sites, and 39 mixed sites, that is cultural and natural heritage. The UNESCO's World Heritage Initiative this such kind of a huge potentiality of the heritage, which is flourished through the both cultural, natural, and many, including the intangible cultural practices. The aim of the International Day for Monuments and Sites is to encourage local communities and individuals throughout the world to consider the importance of cultural heritage to their lives, identities, and communities, and to promote awareness of its diversity and vulnerability and the efforts required to promote and conserve it. The day is dedicated to preserving human heritage and recognizing the efforts of the organizations that support it. We all know that ancient buildings and monuments are an asset for us and for the whole world. Therefore, World Heritage Day represents a collective effort to preserve heritage around the world. This is really an auspicious day for all of us because we are celebrating this important day, which has its unique message. Today, on this special occasion, we are also celebrating this event with a webinar on monuments and heritage sites of Puducherry, history, architecture, cultural, and international recognition as a World Heritage City. And objective of this webinar is to focus on the important sites and the intangible cultural practices of this land, how it can be part of the sustainable development process. And we hope the cultural heritage, historical changes, architecture styles, policy implementations, and international recognition are some of the important areas of this today's discussion. And as far as the Pondicherry's cultural unique heritage is concerned, it is one of the unique cities which encompasses many religions and people from different cultural backgrounds live in a which is one of the finest examples of the intercultural understanding in 21st century. And I'm happy to announce that on this special occasion, we have requested the chairman of the Monument Authority, Professor Kishor K. Basaji, to send his message for this special occasion. And I'm happy to read his message. It is indeed heartening to learn that Sri Aurobindo Society, Union Territory of Puducherry, is celebrating the International Day for Monuments and Sites on the 18th of April 2023 by organizing a webinar on monuments and heritage sites of Puducherry, history, architecture, culture, and international recognition as a World Heritage City. Heritage is like a biography of a nation and is a root of any culture. Therefore, preserving and protecting it becomes an important duty of all conscious citizens. Therefore, in this regard, one may say that a shared heritage harbors international understanding and not just world peace. It is not merely a celebration of the past. It is also a source of ideas about the kind of future society and culture we're aspiring for. Needless to say, Puducherry is rich in heritage, archaeological, monumental, colonial, and intangible, and hence it is most appropriate that various issues needs to be discussed and deliberated critically, especially with regard to the question of its international recognition as a World Heritage City. I'm sure the learned scholars will enrich our understanding by their scholarly presentations. I wish the program all success. On behalf of Aurobindo Society and all the participants, I pay my sincere thanks to Dr. Kishor K. Basaji for presenting his unique vision through his message. And I hope we'll definitely try to achieve through today's discussions, as well as the research and program activities which we have started through Aurobindo Societies. And this year's especially Heritage International Day for Monuments and Sites is also recognized as World Heritage Day. And this year's theme is Heritage Changes. This is one of the unique ideas. What changes we want to bring for this beautiful land? The changes which we require, that is to Pondicherry should get a World Heritage City status, and the government of Union Ministry of Government of India and the government of Puducherry, including INTAC and many other institutions, have already started some process, and we hope it will get its uniqueness, and Pondicherry will be listed, and so that it will be it will contribute to the sustainable economic process and many others. And when we talk about this beautiful land, Maharishi Aurobindo has written, in the songs of the Tamil Alvars, we find it again in another form, giving a powerful and original tone to the images of our old classical poetry. For there it has been sung out by the wrapped heart of a woman to the heart of the universe. I am on quote Aurobindo's. When we talk about Puducherry's rich cultural heritage to become as a World Heritage City, it encompasses one of the finest cultural heritage of the Tamil heritage, Rishi Agastya's land. It is constituted, and it houses the Arikamedu, the archaeological site, represents the oldest settlements with many empires, including the Romans. And there are many temples. You'll find the Archaeological Survey of India has listed as an institution of monuments of national importance. And here we find the Franco-Tamil architectures and the natural beauty, especially Puducherry's rich natural heritage, which has its uniqueness connecting different cultures, especially South India with the Southeast Asia. And this land was earlier called Vedapuri, like the tradition of the study of the Vedas were continuing that time. And there are Shaiva manuscripts from the French Institute of Pondicherry, which was included under the UNESCO's Memory of the World Register. And there is also rich manuscripts and inscriptions. Apart from the tangible and intangible cultural heritage, we find many intangible practices, including the oral traditions, festive celebrations, the knowledge practices, the values. These are also important part when we talk about the heritage status of a city, because UNESCO takes into consideration not just the built heritage, but also intangible heritage, such as the cultural values of the place. So, when we talk about the World Heritage City of Ahmedabad, what exactly the heritage city makes a heritage city? That can any city becomes a heritage city? How is this heritage city different from any other cities? These questions come to mind when we hear places like Ahmedabad. Take for instance, the walled city of Ahmedabad spread over an area of 543 square kilometers. where people continue to reside in centuries-old wooden residences. And it is not the development of the monuments and places within a city that qualifies for a city's heritage city status. For this, the entire city needs to be everything that is in the developed in a way that is rich heritage and history that is vital to the identity of the locals is also to be maintained. So today we have eminent scholars, those who have joined with us for this today's celebration. And it is really a matter of great pleasure for me to welcome them, to introduce them. We have with us Dr. B. Venugopal. He is an eminent scholar, academician, and administrator who has immensely contributed in developing the Intangible Cultural and Natural Heritage programs. He was formerly the Registrar of National Museum Institute under Ministry of Culture, Government of India. He was the Director of National Museum, Kolkata, Director of the National Museum of Natural History under the Ministry of Environmental, Forest and Climate Change, and also the Director of Honorary Center for Intangible Heritage Studies, Sri Sankaracharya University of Sanskrit, Kaladi. And currently he is the convener, Indian Heritage and Museums Field School, Kochi. I welcome you, sir, for this today's initiative, for sparing your valuable time, and we hope you will listen a very authentic and significant discussion on today's from you. We have Dr. Shashikant Dasji, Principal from the Tagore Government Arts and Science College, Puducherry. He is called the Green Man, Tree Man, and Forest Man of Puducherry, a man of dynamic visions, and he's a visionary person, and who has made some dynamic changes into the Puducherry by converting this one of the prestigious colleges of Puducherry in many sectors. Dr. Das works as principal in Tagore Government's Arts and Science College since 2017, and he was also the former registrar of University of Puducherry. He holds a PhD from the University of Hyderabad. He began his teaching career as a lecturer with the government of Arunachal Pradesh through the Public Service Commission. Subsequently joined UPSC of Union Territory of Puducherry in 2006. In 2010, he joined the same administration as principal to the UPSC recommendations. He has 25 years of proven experience both in academics and administrations. Out of which 13 years he served as an academic administrator. Apart from his numerous academic laurels, he stands out also for his exemplary work in various social outreach and charity activities. As an administrator, he continuously accepts new challenges and responsibilities, and he has received many prestigious awards, including the Environmental Responsibility and Initiative of the year 2022, and he was awarded Srimati Sakuntala Shakti National Award for Meritorious Work. He has been awarded with many other interviews like featured in Better India, COVID Warriors, BBC, ANI, NDTV, Google, Reader's Digest, among many others. I welcome Dr. Das for joining us today for this wonderful discussion, and I welcome Professor D.C. Chaubeji, Professor from Indira Gandhi National Center for the Arts under the Ministry of Culture, Government of India. He is the professor and head of the East Asian Studies Program and the Brihatar Bharat project that is run by the IGNC under the Ministry of Culture, Government of India. And his specialization includes, he has a master's degree in history from Banaras Hindu University and PhD on Indian images on China, a Sino-Indian historical contracts between 18th and 20th century from the University of Rajasthan. His specializations include dissemination and transmission of Indian culture abroad, searching the cultural roots in the countries of Indian belt, connecting the countries of Greater India through culture. He has published more than 50 research papers in India's interaction with the countries of West, East, and Southeast Asia. 7 scholars have been awarded PhD and 5 others are currently pursuing their PhDs under his dynamic supervision. He has his credit to written 10 books, out of them Economic and Social History of Ancient India, Indian Travels to China, then Bharatiya Sanskriti ki Dharaएं, Vishwa ka Itihas, Delhi Sultans, Bharat ke Nirmata, Indian View of History, and many others, published more than 30 chapters in different edited books. So I welcome Professor D.C. Chaubeji for this today's initiative, and it is really a matter of great pleasure to have you for today's program. We have with us one of the international and eminent scholars, Professor Dr. Mathimaran Natarajan, Associate Professor from the Department of Ecology and Environmental Sciences from University of Puducherry. And he has expertise in teaching in natural resource management, microbial ecology, climate change, sustainable development, multidisciplinary Indo-Swiss research projects. He holds a PhD in natural sciences at the Swiss Federal Institute of Technology, Zurich, Switzerland. During his career in Switzerland as a postdoctoral fellow, senior scientist, and co-principal investigator of Indo-Swiss projects on sustainable agriculture, he was representing the Indo-Swiss Research Network as a guest speaker in Indo-Swiss forums. Dr. Mathimaran Natarajan research areas include many agroforestry, environmental microbiology, and many others. And he has an international exposure while dealing with the natural heritage, and he belongs to Puducherry. And when I requested him, so we are having this today, this international monuments and sites, and we're having an important topic. Will you be able to accept our invitation to be part of this today's discussion of this natural heritage? And we're very much thankful for accepting our invitation and joining us today. We have an eminent speaker today with us, Sri Ashok Pandaji, the co-convener of Indian National Trust for Art, Culture and Heritage, the Puducherry chapter. Mr. Ashok Panda received his education from the most prestigious institution of Puducherry of the Sri Aurobindo Ashrams, that is Sri Aurobindo International Center of Education. And he specialized in networking and coordination and implementation of projects. And he has contributed in many sectors, including preservation and restoration of architectural heritage and cultural heritage, waste management and natural resources management, developing projects in decentralized cooperation with European cities of urban environment management, and city-to-city networking between Pondicherry and France, and promotion of tourism between India and France. And when we talk about INTAG, no need any interaction because INTAG is a brand. The way INTAG has contributed in preserving the national heritage of India and promoting international understanding, with more than 200 branches all over India, they're doing immensely. They're doing marvelous for enriching the cultural heritage of this land. And I welcome Ashok Bhai for this today's initiative. I also welcome Charu Tripathy, the Associate Director from AuroBharati from the Society, Puducherry. Charu holds a master's degree in conservation, preservation, and heritage management from the most prestigious institution, that is the Delhi Institute of Heritage Research and Management from Delhi government. And currently she is pursuing her PhD from the National Museum Institute under the Ministry of Culture, Government of India. Her specialization include cultural heritage management, conservation of the built heritage, and restorations, preservations. And she is also engaged in making exhibitions and documenting the heritage and monument sites in Puducherry. And as far as her association with Sri Aurobindo Society's initiative on culture is concerned, currently she is working on 5 research projects, that is documentation and preservation of monuments and sites in Puducherry, and 1 project in the Vedapuri, the tradition of teaching and learning and system of the Vedas, and also redesign and development of the museums and capacity development programs for the museums and archival professionals, and capacity building program for the artists and cultural professionals, and many others programs. And I'm happy to say that Charu is my wife, and she's part of the Aurobindo Society's initiative on culture and heritage, and she's contributing immensely. She's contributing for the enrichment of this heritage projects in Puducherry. And we are also happy to welcome Ananti ji from, she's a freelance consultant from Puducherry, and she's an architect and specializing in conservation, whose work endeavors to intervene in historic areas to protect the heritage and ensure a better quality of life for the people through multidisciplinary, community-driven, sustainable planning and design. She provides projects-based consultancy services and is an active member of the People for Pondicherry Heritage Group. She has hosted several community events to create awareness of the heritage value of Pondicherry. She holds a master's in architecture and historic urban environments from London. Presently, she is working as independent consultant in architecture and urban heritage projects. She was also associated with Intact Pondicherry chapter on the projects of documentation of Massive Magam Festival, UNESCO tentative list for the Bolvar town, documentary discussing the evolution and future of the Bolvar town. She has also worked with the institution franchised to Pondicherry and a research project on the political economic of crafts, smart city projects in the historic town of Pondicherry, and allied urban government and policies. So when we talk about this today's initiative, this is really one of the unique topics where many things needs to be addressed. So on behalf of Aurobindo Society, I also would like to welcome today's Lawrence scholars, those who are joined for this festive celebration. We have with us Ms. Gayatri Pandaji, the State Nodal Officer for Ministry of Tourism, Government of India, Dr. Gopal Jayaramanji, the Regional Director from the Indira Gandhi National Center for the Arts Regional Branch from Puducherry, and many expert scholars representing sister organizations under the Ministry of Culture, Government of India. And we have guests with us from the Pondicherry University, Resource Institute of Social Education, then Institute of Advanced Study in Education, Utkal University, Jadavpur University, and Cambridge Institute of Technology, then from IIT Madras, and AVC College Autonomous, Pandit Dindayal Upadhyay Institute of Archaeology, and University of Jammu, and many. And I welcome you all for this today's discussion on behalf of Aurobindo Society. And I'd like to complete with one sentence. Maharshi Aurobindo has written that Pondicherry is the cave of my tapasya. Pondicherry's main identity is it is the spiritual land. It is the Vedapuri. It was the Deva Bhumi, the city of knowledge. We find that the Rishi Agastya established the spiritual identity of this land, and sages and seers like Maharshi Aurobindo and many Siddhas, they have taken their samadhis are available on this beautiful and sacred land. And this city also hosts Maharshi Aurobindo Ashram, one of the finest, one of the greatest ashrams in the Aurobindo Society, by creating to realize the spirit of human unity through the, and Sri Mataji has created the Auroville and centralized the Aurobindo Ashrams initiative. And I'm happy to share that the mother is the president of Aurobindo Society, and Aurobindo Society is an international organization which has more than 300 branches all over India and many other countries. It is recognized as an institution of national importance, And the society holds and it is registered, affiliated to the Department of Science and Industrial Research, and the society holds the United Nations Economic and Social Council issue SOC status. And we are very happy to host this today's event under the initiative of the Society under Culture. And we have eminent speakers. It was really a matter of great pleasure to introduce all of them. And they'll be speaking on the World Heritage status, the architecture styles, the conventions, the contribution initiatives, the natural heritage, and many others. So we are really eagerly interested to listen to all these learned speakers today. And with this, I conclude my presentation, and I welcome the first speaker, Sri Ashok Pandaji, is the co-convener from INTAC, and how basically they are creating some initiatives to conserve the beautiful land of this Puducherry, and what are the in terms of built heritage. So what are the major initiatives undertaken by the government to make Puducherry as a World Heritage city? So I request Ashok Bhai to kindly present his views, please. Thank you.
I wanted to start by showing you a little bit of the work that we have done in Pondicherry, and then later go to other issues. You see, Pondicherry today is known for its architectural heritage, and what is very unique is, you see in this image on our left, the French part of the town, the French quarters. It has a very distinct, very different feel. And on the right is the Tamil architecture. Again, a very different kind of ambiance. So that is what is very unique to Pondicherry, where you have two very, very beautiful architectural features within the same old city. So some of the works that we do, very quickly I want to go through it. Apart from doing projects in restoration, we have also worked very closely with the government in trying to improve other aspects of city planning. We work with the Pondicherry Planning Authority, the town planning, the government of Pondicherry, and obviously local people. And the art and culture department also has been very, very proactive in trying to promote Pondicherry as a cultural destination. So a little bit of the history of Pondicherry, how Pondicherry changed hands between the Dutch, the French, the British. But as you can see at the end, from 1815 to 1954, Pondicherry was under the French rule. That is where much of the French influence sort of lingered, and the earlier influences sort of disappeared because there was a war between the British and the French in 1776, and much of the old city was demolished. What you see today was built by the French around and after 1815. You can see some of the ships and some of the cars coming by ship from France to Pondicherry. The port office, the old jetty, the town hall. These are some of the images from the French period. So this is a very old plan of Pondicherry. You can see very clearly close to the beachfront, the French Quarter, and then toward the west, the Tamil part of the town. Unfortunately, the Tamil part has got very, very commercial. A lot of buildings have got demolished. But what you see in this picture is also how the Tamil part also was well developed with a clear, distinct characteristics in the Tamil part, in the Muslim quarter, the Christian quarter, and the Hindu quarter. Although all of them were of Tamil origin, they all lived harmoniously within their own cultural sphere. So just a very quick run through. The images tell you very clearly the difference, the beauty of the French part of the town with very simple exterior features, thick walls, high ceilings, and beautiful colors. You'll also see a lot of bougainvillea, which acts as a protection on the entrance gates. Some of the primary colors also are visible in these, the grey, the yellow, and the pink, which are some of the important colors in the French town even today. In contrast, you see the beautiful Tamil part of the town, which has a very interesting slant to roof on the pavement, which allows people to walk on the pavement under the shade. These are some of the beautiful houses in the Muslim part of the town. In fact, you can see some of the pictures where you have a mix of the old colonial big columns and then the confluence of the Tamil architecture. So this is a very interesting street where we restored approximately 26 houses, because the Tamil part is the more endangered part. A lot of buildings were getting demolished, and the government funded some of these buildings exterior to be restored as an incentive for private owners to restore the interiors. But you can also see how traditional buildings have been demolished. The buildings on the left have been demolished to make way for not very beautiful buildings. So again, a transformation, not always for the best. The other important aspect is to make a kind of a listing of heritage building, a complete inventory. How many buildings, how many got demolished over the years. This sort of gives you a realistic picture of the problems that cities face and the different categories under which the government of India has categorized these buildings. So Pondicherry has taken the lead along with Ahmedabad, Hyderabad, Jaipur in trying to preserve its architectural heritage. This is again a listing of all the heritage buildings in different colors. So this is also an important aspect where you classify each heritage building and make an individual card so that people are aware why this building and what is the importance of these buildings, the architectural features, the historic characters, the age of the building, to whom it belongs, and why it has been categorized as a heritage building. So awareness, very important aspect. Heritage walks, exhibitions, which we have been doing for the last 20 years, is an important aspect because it creates a kind of interest among the local people. Ultimately, it has to be driven by the people. Any movement, if it needs to succeed, has to be people driven. It cannot be driven by individuals or just organizations. The government, the public, the private sector, everyone has to work together if it has to be a success. So this is some of the important aspects that I want to present. Some of the buildings which were restored. The old port office, which is now a coffee shop, had gone into disrepair, and you can see at the end of at the bottom how beautiful it has been restored. These are one of the early buildings that were restored for the government. And then you see some of the other buildings. It's a building which was owned by the freedom fighter Subhaya, which in fact he donated to the government. And today it's a museum on the left. And on the right is a small town outside Pondicherry called Tarangambadi in Tamil Nadu, Trangevar, where we restored the governor's bungalow. So how the private sector also played its part. In this picture and a few more, you will see old buildings being restored into heritage hotels. That has been one of the really success stories in Pondicherry, where many old buildings are now being restored, used as commercial property, but keeping the old structure and the old ambiance exactly as it was. You can see the dilapidated condition and how it has been beautifully restored. This is a hotel today, but all these were private homes owned by rich French businessmen. So another guest house. So this is also an important aspect where what we call adaptive reuse, how old buildings are being reused with modification. It's important to note that buildings need to change as per the prevailing lifestyle. We cannot remains static exactly as it was. Attached baths, open spaces, balconies. These are the few additions that we have done to this building, and it continues to retain its architectural heritage character, yet gives a new life as a heritage guest house. Little bit of the interiors. A lot of wood is used, as you can see. This is again a Tamil house, in contrast, which we restored, added a first floor, and it's one of the finest heritage hotels today. So important changes, but keeping the intrinsic architectural characters of the Tamil quarters. Some of the pictures, interiors. So elegance is personified, whether it's new or old. You can see how these furnitures, the decor matches the heritage character. So this is an interior of a Tamil house restored. You can see wood was cheap in those days. So a lot of teak wood has been used. So this again is a very old building in Tarangambadi, which was an old Danish settlement called Trankebar. One of our most difficult restoration projects, where a building was restored, and now it's a heritage hotel, very close to the sea. So this is another very interesting feature in Pondicherry, where you will see a lot of new buildings coming up in the French part of the town are redesigned exactly in the old style. A lot of people will not be able to guess that this is a new building. They have been completely built keeping the old exterior in mind. Very reminiscent of one of those old Tamil houses on the first floor, and you can see the beautiful architecture, big columns, big windows on the ground floor. So this is again an interesting feature where you have a mix of the old Tamil and French architecture. So this is again a very old building, which is one of the first hotels. It's called Grand Hotel d'Europe, Grand Hotel of Europe, which has been recently restored. So this is again to portray and to show how the streets, the commercial part is expanding with no sense of beauty in its architectural interface. In contrast, what you see here is actually new buildings. They're all completely new buildings built as residences, mostly as private hotels, or as partly commercial and private, but it is in style as you would see in the French part of the town. It has retained exactly the same exterior. A lot of people think these are actually old buildings, but these are new buildings designed in the old style, especially in the exterior. Again, some more examples. So the idea is to maintain a harmonious streetscape where you see a continuity of the architectural features. So this was a very important project where European Commission actually funded a few pilot projects in signages, non-polluting transport, conducting walks, waste management, street facade. So this was also a very important learning process where we realized, along with the restoration of heritage buildings, we also need to maintain a beautiful urban streetscape, an urban space where people don't litter garbage, where you have non-polluting transport. So these are some of the interesting aspects that Pondicherry has adapted, where old buildings are being restored, streetscape are being maintained, and new buildings coming up retain the old architectural features. So keeping that in mind, in fact, Pondicherry was invited to an exhibition in Shanghai, in China, the urban best practices under that theme. In fact, a replica of an old Tamil house was built there to showcase to the public. Pondicherry's French influence is again very much visible. There is a project where we worked with the French government to have a partnership to improve the urban infrastructure. The former governor of Pondicherry and the former minister were present during this signing of agreement. So these are some of the current projects where government buildings, schools are being restored. So the next important step is to get Pondicherry notified under the UNESCO World Heritage status. Three important achievements: we have a heritage regulation, we have a heritage committee, and buildings have been notified. These are the first three important steps that the government actually worked very hard to get it accepted and notified both private and government buildings as heritage buildings which cannot be demolished. Buildings have been actually notified through a government order. So some of the works still in the pipeline: pedestrian space, public toilets, improvement of streetscapes, lighting, parking. So a lot more needs to be done. Congestion in the commercial area, open drains, wastewater outlets, blocked, choked drains. So these are some of the things that still need to be done. And these are areas where the Pondicherry government is working closely with the city dwellers, the residents, creating more space for people to walk, open drains, signages. This is one area again where the government we worked with the government closely to have a direction signages, heritage signages, city signages. So heritage tourism has been one of the big success stories of Pondicherry. People come and stay in these heritage buildings to get the feel of the place, take these walks, go around the French part and the Tamil part to look into the unique character of Pondicherry's architectural heritage. So this is a government notification to save some of the buildings, and the next step to get Pondicherry into UNESCO. So the UNESCO step is important because it not only gives us a kind of a improvement and a kind of a holistic touch, and also puts us in touch with the international community through UNESCO. And it also brings the other aspect of Pondicherry, which is still a lot of work under process, is the cultural heritage of Pondicherry. It's happening. Again, the confluence of the French and the Tamil architecture, the French and the Tamil cultural aspect of Pondicherry is also now gaining prominence. Lot of diverse associations, intact, Aurobindo Society, the People for Pondicherry's Heritage, the Department of Art and Culture. There's a lot of work to be done in preserving the cultural heritage of Pondicherry. The Pondicherry Heritage Festival has been, in fact, in place now for the last 10 years, where apart from the architectural heritage, we are also working on the cultural unique characteristics of Pondicherry. Thank you very much.
I should say that Ashok Bhai from Intac for presenting the unique ideas which under the dynamic implementation mechanism of the government and with a wonderful team, they're making many efforts in preserving the architectural heritage, and they have made many unique cultural complexes like this crafts village, this exhibition venue near the Gandhi Theatre, and many others. And this is really one of the unique contributions by the Intac and in connection with, in collaboration with the Pondicherry government and many other institutions. And we will have some discussion on this topic. First, may I now request Dr. Sasikanji, the principal from the Tagore Arts and Science College, to kindly say his views, please.
Good evening to all of you. Am I audible, sir?
Yes, yes, please.
Okay. So, Dr. Venugopal sir, Dr. DC Chaudhary sir, Dr. Kishor Tripathy sir. I'm getting some disturbances from the other side, or it is from my side only? Yeah, okay. Dr. Ashok Panda sir, then Dr. Madhivaran Natarajan, Dr. Tripathi, Charu Tripathi, and Mrs. Ananti, and all these people those who are viewing me, and Madam Gayatri is also there. So many other people, Dr. Gopal is also there. So at the outset, I just want to extend my congratulations, greetings on the Day of World Heritage, because and all those people, those are involved in protecting natural and cultural sites. And I'm extremely, grateful to the Sri Aurobindo Society for taking this initiative in celebrating and making efforts in making Pondicherry more important and trying to take it to the next level. And India, as such, we all know that this is known for its rich culture, heritage, and from times immemorial. And of course, today we are celebrating based upon the UNESCO's efforts from 1983, where Tripathi sir is also specified. And 2023 is basically heritage and its changes. And what I want to emphasize over here, that age of now we have almost 40 heritage sites by UNESCO. Out of that, 32 is natural, 7 is 32 is cultural, 7 is natural, and 1 is mixed one. So these are the 3 types we are having. And why I'm placing, because India as such, which are having so many sites, but somewhere Pondicherry, we have to take it to the next level. So I'm just trying to emphasize on that. And Professor Tripathi is also specified that the first heritage site or heritage city is Ahmedabad, followed by Jaipur. And in recently 2023, we all are aware of it, that 24th of January 2023, Tholabira, the Harappan city, it has also become the latest heritage city of this world. So we need to say that India, we are having many of the cities, but the journey should not get over there. And coming to the Pondicherry, we all know that it's on the Coromandel coast of Bay of Bengal. And sir also referred that to a great extent it is compared with France or French. The perpendicular streets, the river divides the town, and we all know that how it has been, the confluence of religions. What India is depicting, Indian heritage, art, architecture, dance, music, flora and fauna, and social philosophy. The same is there in Pondicherry context, because rich heritage, and in rich heritage, because the 4 you can all know that Pondicherry, Karaikal, Mahe, Yanam, everywhere we are having the same kind, rich heritage. And here I just want to know that Pondicherry means it's not simply Pondicherry of few of the things. Just imagine in Pondicherry, every street is having some temple. Every area we are having some kind of dargahs or mosque. Everywhere we are having the churches. So just imagine somewhere 365 temples in Pondicherry, you can understand. And the beaches, the ponds, like the Osudu Pond or the Kanagan Lake, and the legacy of the French governors, the ashram, needless to say, and the Ai Mandapam, and Manakula Vinayagar temple, and most importantly, the Arikamedu, which we have been forgetting, or due emphasis has not been given in due course of time, because the Roman context, almost 2,200 years of old heritage that has been there. And there are people, like I just want to emphasize one, Mr. Ramesh, who has been working in Arikamedu for the last 15 years, almost you can say that more than that. He has been instrumental in supporting all the people. The only thing is that in this platform, I just want to tell that there are so many like-minded people are there whose services can be taken up for spreading awareness. And here, Pondicherry, we all know that where we are missing it. We are missing it that because it is there from the Pallavas, the Cholas, the Pandyas, and part of Vijayanagar Empire and Islamic rule, and followed by Portuguese and many more. The British, the French, the British, all those people are there. So Pondicherry, which is having almost 290 square kilometer, it's a little France, you can say that little France in India. So that is where I just want to emphasize on that. So coming to Pondicherry, I just want to tell that, see, I'm not talking of Pondicherry, I'm talking a suburban of Pondicherry, that is Karaikal. Just imagine Veerapatnam, the Amman temple, which is almost 250 years. The Grand Mosque of Karaikal, which is known as Periyapalli, and that is of 18th century, the grand site in Karaikal. The historical church of Karaikal, what is almost 133 feet, and that is also 18th century. The Kanduri festival, which is almost 14 days, which goes in Karaikal, and that is very important in Karaikal. It goes for 14 days. The Ammayar Koil. Why I'm emphasizing? Because Pondicherry means Pondicherry. Along with Pondicherry, we have to talk of the Karaikal or the Mahe and Yanam. So just referred in Karaikal because I spent almost 8 years in Karaikal. So I thought, why not this is a platform I can use to talk of Karaikal also. And coming to Pondicherry, we all know that this Vedaswari, Vedapuri, we are talking of almost 250 years. And what is the most important, most of the other temples in North India, some other, where the Rajas has constructed. But here, the most important, the Divans, the public, that is most important. So here in this context, I want to say that we are having a rich heritage in Pondicherry. What is missing out? Maybe the awareness, spreading awareness. People have started doing, Aurobindo Society has started doing, many other Ignaka is doing it, many other people, but we have to take it to the ground level. What is missing? Every temple is having its history, every church is having its history, but somewhere we are not, propagating it to the core. Now, coming to that, as that is one aspect. The second aspect which I want to say, today you are talking it's a heritage, but how it has become a heritage, that is most important. Somewhere it was just a building, somebody constructed it, and over a period of 50, 60, 70, and 100 years, it became a heritage building. So I just referring that what is the meaning of heritage. So I was just thinking it's a property which can be inherited or inheritance. So I thought, why not we should also create some kind of heritage for the future. So in that context, I just wanted to tell that I am more interested into the urban forestry. I'm more interested into taking off Pondicherry to the next level of creating urban forests, because an educational institution, I thought it has to be started. Many places can be started, but from educational institution, I just wanted to create a process of environment heritage. That is what I wanted to call is environment heritage. So I just want to give a small slides here. People, share. Yeah, correct. You are sharing, right? So this is what the college which I became the principal in 2017 did. This is Tagore Government Arts and Science College, and this is my 7 years of strenuous work. And today I feel that when I could see the changes, I feel it's unthinkable. Even I could not dream it. So for the first picture, you can see that it was not having anything, and second picture has become changed. And this is all started. This is how the college looks like, because I don't want to take much time, so I'm just going in a glance. And this is what we have started in 2019, 20, 21, 22. Same place, same plantation, and how the changes is happening. So I thought, why not we'll talk of the environment as an heritage also. And this is how the first page in 2017, last page, the building is not visible. You can see only the forest all around, this forest. And this is the green orchard next to our library building. This is how the building looks like. The place where it was mostly a garbage center has become a park. It has become a park. So that is what the changes. And this is the next page. We have created our Santiniketan, because this is known as the Santiniketan of South India, and this has been referred in Indian Express. The abode of peace, the silent revolution, and Santiniketan of South India. And this is what the vegetable, just imagine in 2017, where the college was not having any flowers. No, needless to say, it was a 15 acres of land with a few trees here and there. Nobody was looking at. Under the circumstances, bringing this college to this level is a herculean, but it's a pleasurable. And I must want to thank all the student community and the teaching community for supporting me in this venture. And where I was finding very tough to have a single flowering, now we have almost 35 varieties of flowers here. And this is the apiculture we have created in this college. So the purpose is that giving some kind of employable opportunity to the students. So this is the pond, because today also you can see how the CAG and the auditing are all talking of the problems in Pondicherry. And this is where we have created our water system, because where many of the lakes are drying up, we are creating our lake here within the campus. So this is a heritage we thought of. And and in the last 6 years, we could able to reach us almost 45 lakh liters of water into this small pond of 40 by 60. And these are the people, those who visited. And these people, those who visited, you can see the list. They have not visited any of official programs like seminar or conferences as such. They have visited this campus only to see the greenery activities. be it Madam the Honorable Lieutenant Governor Tamil Sai, or Madam the former Lieutenant Kiran Bedi, or the present Speaker Sir, former Deputy Speaker, Education Minister Sir, Chandra Priyanka Madam, Sundaram, these Mr. Asim Khan, Chief Secretary, I'm missing out because of the shortage of time. Professor Sachidanand Mahanti, the former Vice Chancellor, Professor Bhimukesh Tripathi, former Vice Chancellor, and IPS, IAS, and in addition to that, professors from Pondicherry University, professors from various departments, and most importantly, this public. Now I've opened this one for the public also. So these are some of the pictures I wanted to show. So what I'm in a process of making an heritage. So that after down the lane, after 5 years, 7 years, 10 years, when people will see that yes, this is a proper heritage, environmental heritage which you need to create. Because all the time when you are talking of heritage, those are the old buildings that need to be taken care. But we have to also create certain things which I felt I just wanted to share with all of you. And with 5 minutes more, a PPT video. This is. This is the college. I cannot understand. This is the college campus, and almost 15 acres of land, and this is the area which was almost a garbage center. So this has been converted as a Buddha garden. And when you talk of the campus, we have by this time 8,000 trees, having almost 110 species. That is most important. Having the rabbits, having various other aspects. So I just wanted to see how we can create also a better environment for better future. This is the college, and this is where it was earlier a parking space. Now it has been converted into a greenery. And Velu Nachiyar is the garden name because Velu Nachiyar is the fighter who fought against the East India Company. That's what we have done it. And this is all the plants you can see. This we don't purchase from the outside. This we create within the campus. We have our own nursing. And these are paintings you can see nurturing a plant. This is done by the students. And this is how it looks like. And just want to tell that it's not that I have asked somewhere, an outside person with a specialist person to take the videos and all. And if I'll tell you how the technology has been used, this is a student sitting on a two-wheeler on the backside and taking this video, which is very unique because people may be thinking that how this has been done. So I just feel that we given the importance to the student, they can do miracles. So this is what it has been done. And the front you can see, this is known as the Santi Aranyam, having various types of trees where the student they sit over there. This is science block, and why I'm referring, because this is what we have created in Tagore Arts College, which used to be barren land, having few trees here and there, but whatever stuffs and all that you can see. And everywhere, whatever we have been used, it is not that we have purchased any of the new things. It has been all the old things, damaged things, that has been reused. That is what important, because we are talking of how people will start giving importance only when they are also growing in that process. Just hydraulic kind of plantation, and these are the plantation we have put inside the corridors in the science department. And these are all the pipes you can see. This is all wasted pipe. This is not new pipe. This is all old ones. So this is what we have been creating as an environmental heritage. And just imagine, I have shown you that this was a library where 5 years before only the building was visible. Now you can see that there's no building. This is one of the important aspects. Corona Memorial Garden, one of the unique in this country, I can say, where we have devoted with people, those to whom we have lost. So in their memory, we have created this memorial park, and we plant over there. So by this time, almost 2,500 saplings has been planted, and just imagine after 5, 7, 10 years, what will be this? So this is an heritage in the process, in the making. So this is the plantation, and many of the people, those who come in their memory, we just plant one tree. They plant. For example, this is Madam Kiran Bedi, who planted in 2018, and this is how it has been. So various trees have planted. And hello.
Yes, sir. Yeah, you're audible. Please.
Sir, am I okay, sir?
Please continue, sir. Please continue, sir.
Yeah. So this is a pond which this is a pond which we have created. this is a pond which I've created and which stored almost 46 lakhs liters of water. And this is the forest that we have created. This is the creation in the last 6 years. This is a creation of last 6 years. And this is what we have created, students sitting under the benches and all, and so that they can link themselves with this nature environment. So my agenda is that 21st century is basically a problem, because we are talking of 2022 when we are talking of heritage and climate. So even 23rd also we're talking of climate is a bigger challenge. So we thought that why not heritage to be involved with this kind of nature, and this is how we are developing a different kind of heritage in 21st century. These are the trees which has been protected also, because protection when you're talking, trees protected because these are the trees of 100 years of old trees. So we put a lot in the soil. We see that how these trees can be protected. So this is one of the orchard, which was a completely barren land. Now it is having almost all the varieties of fruits and other trees. And this is basically meant for the birds. So basically most of the flowers, most of the fruits are basically meant for the birds and animals. This is again a new, this is how it looks like. And just imagine 5 years before, now I feel that this has become my heritage center, because I could not dream it of. Now when it has come to this level, I feel that yes, I was the most fortunate enough. This where you can see canteen, both the sides, both the trees, it was nothing was there. Nothing, not even one. And this is what the aerial view, where people used to tell that, okay, earlier the building was visible, now it is only the trees. And this is how it looks like from the top. So my interest was that let it be, because when Pondicherry we are having only less than 10% of the forest coverage, why we should not enhance it? Because our survival depends upon the environment. So I thought that let us try to make a sustainable environment, at the same time thinking of protecting this nature also. And this is because this is my heritage. This is how I am trying to contribute to the heritage. So I just want to thank the organizers, specifically Dr. Tripathy sir, for giving this opportunity. Maybe this is not directly related, but through this means I thought, why not let me make an effort of presenting myself before all of you. Thanking you to all the intellectuals for giving me this opportunity. My best wishes to all of you once again. Thank you. Congratulations to all of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Sasikanji, for presenting the beautiful ideas. I would like to say that in the 1972's convention of the UNESCO's convention specifically emphasizes on the conservation of the natural heritage, including the cultural heritage. So in 2022, the 50 years of the convention was, the 50 years of the convention was completed in 2022, because it started in 1972. So its main emphasis was on the protecting and preserving the natural heritage, including the cultural heritage. So you have rightly mentioned this year's theme is the heritage changes. This International Monument Day's theme. Like there is a saying, save the past for the future. So what exactly you have mentioned that Pondicherry represents many of the natural and cultural heritage sites. And as per the convention is concerned, Charu will speak on the UNESCO's convention on the specific issue. Sir, I would like to submit for your kind information that there are 5 C's in the UNESCO's convention. The first is the credibility, second is the conservation, third is capacity building, fourth is communication, and fifth is the communities. So you have rightly mentioned about the activities, and especially the activities which you have proved through the Tagore Government Arts College environment you have changed. This is really one of the finest examples to preserve the natural and cultural heritage of Puducherry. And you have mentioned about many sites about Karaikal, Mahe, Yanam, which needs to be documented. It should be properly presented, and I hope it will be part of the tangible heritage process of this land. And thank you so much. We will have a detailed discussion on this topic. Now I request Dr. B. Benugopalanji.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Namaste. Dr. B. Benugopalanji has submitted his, due to some technical issue, he has shared his video. I will just wait.
Good afternoon, everybody. Hello to all participants of the program being arranged on the occasion of the World Heritage Day 2023. I will be concentrating more on the potential of Arikamedu as a World Heritage Site of the UNESCO. Let us see the importance of Arikamedu in this context. I do hope that you are aware that the earlier name of Pondicherry was Podike, which is actually the name referred to Arikamedu in ancient literature. Arikamedu was an ancient industrial port city located in the southeastern coast of India near Pondicherry city. It was an old Indo-Roman trading port city involved in the manufacture of clothes, including silk, terracotta objects, and Roman beads. In fact, it was considered as the most famous bead manufacturing center in the world. While discussing about the possibility of Arikamedu as a World Heritage Site, it may be noted that it can be considered as part of any one of the transnational World Heritage Sites, which will be described in the coming slides. The transnational World Heritage Sites mentioned in the previous slide include the 4 routes such as Silk Road launched by UNESCO in 1988, Belt and Road Initiative of China launched in 2013, the Project Mosam of India launched in 2014, and the Spice Route Initiative launched by the government of Kerala in 2006, out of which the Belt and Road Initiative is purely...
I hope Professor Dr. B. Venugopalanji's speech was, due to some technical issue, it was interrupted. Then I just want to go to the slide. Yeah, this is the slide. Thank you so much, Dr. Venugopalanji, for presenting your unique ideas to make Arikamedu as a World Heritage Site. And in your speech, you have meticulously mentioned about the significant aspects of this land by giving many examples, significant examples, including the Silk Roads, Belt and Road Initiatives, Project Mosams initiative of the Ministry of Culture, and Spice Route Initiatives, which was started Kerala MHP in 2006. And yeah, of course, when we talk about the cross-cultural connections, we find Silk Road has its uniqueness, connecting different cultures, different lands, and it has immensely contributed for enriching, connecting the culture through the edges. And this UNESCO's tentative list, especially related to the Silk Road, like the ruins of ancient Vaishali Vihar, Shravasti UP, Kaushambi, Arikamedu is also included in early history sites of Pondicherry. And when we talk about the Government of India's initiatives, that is the Project Mosham, a project initiated by the Ministry of Culture, Government of India in 2014, and especially focus on monsoon patterns, maritime trade routes, coastal landscapes, and many others. And in your speech, you have mentioned about the spice roads, groceries, which also connected many dynasties, many countries around the world through the period of time. And you have clearly mentioned that what is next for the Arikamedu, that is in search of a lost world, like what the government has taken the initiatives. We hope that as far as the technical and significant aspects of this processing is concerned, this Arikamedu will be included into an heritage city tag as a heritage site. And thank you so much. And we will have a detailed discussion on this on your topic after the end, listening from all the speakers. And thanks for your ideas.
For inviting me in this Zoom meeting, Zoom seminar. Before going on main topic of heritage of Pondicherry and surroundings, I am just requesting you that what IGNC is going to be complete in the field of Brihatar Bharat, that means India beyond India. In 2-3 minutes, I will express my views on this. Important to know all people in the field of history and culture who are studying on Southeast Asian studies and India's interaction with other countries. Indira Gandhi National Center for the Arts is going to establish a center that is research center, and we have made proposal in the Brihatar Bharat Research Center, Digital Repository and Archives. The Brihatar Bharat Research Center aims at creating research center and digital repository emphasizing on the integrated holistic research associated with shared cultural and historical linkages of ancient and medieval India. Of India has spread in the form of religion, philosophy, art, language, rituals, tradition, way of living, etc., making it a huge cultural entity of shared sentiments and achievements that is Greater India, that means Brihatar Bharat. We are just focusing on connecting the countries through culture and searching cultural roots among the countries of Greater India. And as you all know, the coastal India had a great tradition of intercourse with other world regions. That means many persons in remote ancient in antiquity went to Southeast Asia, and Sri Vijay Shailendra were the people, and they had created a huge empire in the island of Indonesia, and in those times that were called Java and Sumatra. And in popular culture, this whole land was known as Golden Pherosonis. Pondicherry is very important place. Its ancient name we found in historical works as perhaps ancient name of Pondicherry, and there are huge corpus of golden Roman coins had been discovered from this area, particularly from Paducah and Arikamedu. So the Indira Gandhi Center for the Arts, Indira Gandhi National Center for the Arts focus on all kinds of common cultural heritage, either they are in India, other countries. So, Kishore ji, this is very important topic and very relevant meeting on this historical monuments and this heritage you are just going to organize, and you are focusing on this kind of heritage study. So we can and we have to pass our generation, and we have to create consciousness among our present generation about our great heritage, क्योंकि किशोर जी हमारे पूर्वजों ने बहुत ही अथक परिश्रम से इन विरासतों का निर्माण किया है। किन परिस्थितियों में महान भारत और कोस्टल एरिया में जितने भी हमारे शहर हैं, पोर्ट है, बंदरगाह है, वो सभी अपने आप में एक विरासत है। चाहे वो विशाखापट्टनम हो, चाहे आपका ये पौंडीचेरी हो, चेन्नई हो, और भी जितने भी शहर हैं हमारे जो कोस्टल एरिया में, उनका भारत के इतिहास में, भारत को समृद्ध बनाने में एक बहुत ही महत्वपूर्ण भूमिका है। पौंडीचेरी की बात के लोगों ने उसको बसाया, समृद्ध किया, लेकिन पौंडीचेरी एक पोर्ट सिटी के रूप में दिस सिटी वाज वेरी फेमस इन एंशिएंट इंडिया, एंड देयर वाज ए brisk trade from Pondicherry to Southeast Asia and to the countries of Mediterranean areas, regions. तो पौंडीचेरी के हेरिटेज के ऊपर आपने इस प्रकार के कॉन्फ्रेंस का एक विचार विषय का कंटिन्यू रहे, और वर्तमान पीढ़ी को, क्योंकि पूर्वजों के इतिहास क्या है, आखिर पूर्वजों की सिद्धियां हैं, किस प्रकार से हमारे महान लोगों ने इन बड़े बड़े निर्माणों को अंजाम दिया, और वो निर्माण ऐसा भी समय आया इतिहास क्रम में, कालखंड में, कि बहुत से हमारे पूर्वजों की सिद्धियां, इन निर्माणों को विदेशी आक्रांताओं ने तोड़ दिया। आप नॉर्थ इंडिया में अगर आप 2000 साल पुराने किसी मंदिर को ढूंढेंगे तो 100 साल पुराने, जबकि भारत मंदिरों का देश रहा है, भारत महलों का देश रहा है। कुम्हरार की खुदाई से when Mauryan palace was discovered at Kumrar by archaeologists, they had believed that man could not create or construct this kind of huge palace. मेगास्थनीज कहता है कि इतना विशाल भवन तो कोई साधारण मनुष्य, मेगास्थनीज को दक्षिण भारत के मंदिरों का, महलों के बारे में जानकारी नहीं रही होगी, वरना अभी भी जो हमारे मंदिर, पुरी का जो भगवान जगन्नाथ का मंदिर है, लिंगराज टेम्पल जो भुवनेश्वर का है, और भी साउथ के जो बड़े बड़े मंदिर हैं, इतनी उनकी विशालता है, किस प्रकार से 50 टन वजनी आमलक को उन मंदिरों की चोटियों पर चढ़ाया गया होगा, जबकि ये परसेप्शन है कि निर्माणों को संभव बनाया है। लेकिन 50 टन का मीनाक्षी मंदिर का आमलक या बृहदेश्वर मंदिर के ऊपर जो हमारा जो शिखर है कैसे ऊपर चढ़ाया गया होगा, ये अपने आप में मॉडर्न इंजीनियरिंग के लिए एक अजूबा का विषय है। तो इस प्रकार से जो ये आपका एक जो ये अटेम्प्ट है, प्रयास है, कंग्रेचुलेशन टू यू फॉर ऑर्गेनाइजिंग सच वंडरफुल एंड इंटरेस्टिंग historical subject for consciousness or for the development of academia। तो आपको मैं बहुत बहुत बधाई देता हूं कि इस प्रकार के विषय को आप लेते रहें, और कभी कभी हम मॉन्यूमेंट फोकस्ड भी होकर के काम कर सकते हैं, उसे एक मॉन्यूमेंट का पूरा इतिहास A to Z हमें ज्ञात हो जाएगा। सिटी फोकस्ड हो, रीजन फोकस्ड हो, और साइट या टेम्पल फोकस्ड हो, तो अच्छे से कंप्लीट करने में या उसके अध्ययन में, स्टडी में काफी सुविधा होती है। आपने मुझे कुछ समय के लिए बोलने का मौका दिया। आई एम वेरी ग्रेटफुल टू यू, एंड अगेन आई एम congratulating you for organizing such a wonderful and having good academic output conference on this topic. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Professor Chaube sir, for enlightening us. And in a very short span of time, you mentioned very important points like IGNCA. As you know, that I was part of this prestigious institution for more than 7.5 years. And I was part of the IGNCA's Area Studies Initiative, especially Southeast, Central, and West Asian countries. We did the work. And you very clearly mentioned about the divinity of this land, because Pondicherry is considered as a spiritual land. It was called the Vedapuri in the ancient times. You mentioned about the Roman tradings, especially those artifacts like those coins. And if you visit to the Pondicherry Museum, you will find many historical artifacts where we can trace the history through this. You have also mentioned that this maritime heritage, like this Southeast Asia's, South India's connection with the Southeast Asian countries through the Roman tradings in the ancient times. And when we talk about the cultural exchange, especially the area study programs, the South Asia has a huge potentiality to connect with the Southeast Asian countries. And we are very glad that the IGNCA is establishing the Brihatar Bharat Research Institution and Digital Repository, and being the national institutions in promoting Indian art and culture and heritage in a global basis. This will be really one of the unique findings, and definitely we will collaborate in many areas. And thank you so much. And I just want to say you very meticulously informed how our heritage is unique, and how our like heritage is a legacy of the past. What our predecessors they have given to us is the heritage, and India's real identity is its culture. And thank you so much for presenting your views on this particular date. And I would like to submit here that on this special day, because it is the day of International Day for Monuments and Sites, and this year's theme was Heritage Changes. So when we planned for this event, we invited experts like you, and we are very much thankful to IGNCA and to you for accepting our invitation and sparing your valuable times. And especially based on the theme, Heritage Changes, we really want a change to bring to this land, that is to Pondicherry to become a heritage city to a World Heritage City. It should, because Pondicherry has its uniqueness, many cultures intermingled in a small land. And Maharshi Aurobindo's he stayed here and he mentioned that Pondicherry is the cave of my tapasya. Sri Maharshi Aurobindo has mentioned that. So this land also belongs to many Jiva Samadhi sites, many temples, unique temples are there. But definitely we will work, and we have also taken into note your
and one minute, Kishore ji.
Yeah, please.
Aurobindo knew that this ancient Paducah was the seat of the great sage Agastya. Agastya, the great sage Agastya had established he present day Pondicherry. So Agastya's legend is very age old and very ancient. It's had great antiquity.
Sir.
So this place is very sacred place for Indians.
Yeah.
Because the great sage Agastya is not a lesser personality.
Yeah.
He was a very huge. He had very culture,
Sir.
and his reputation is he was very adventurous, and he had spread the noble ideas of Indianness in the whole this Jambu Dweep. That was called, this whole Asia was then called Jambu Dweep. So Pondicherry is not a lesser known place. Pondicherry is very important, and it says Agastya. That means go back to not less than 8,000 years ago. 8,000 years, because Agastya legend goes beyond the date of Mahabharata. So this place is not a small place. Pondicherry is very important, and its history is very important for our generations. Thank you.
Thank you so much for enlightening us on Rishi Agastya's. Sir, I'll tell you that when we started our initiative, especially in the area of culture and heritage, the first project which we are working on, that is Rishi Agastya Vedapuri and the Tamil heritage. And Maharshi Agastya was also considered as the father of the Siddha system of medicine. So thank you so much for enlightening us, and especially we have taken to note your message that there should be some specific research on a specific monument to trace out the history. This is really one of the unique suggestions, and we will definitely work on it. And thank you so much for joining us for this on this special day, that is on International Day for Monuments and Sites. And we will definitely continue our interview on research, collaboration projects, and academic exchange programs. And definitely we can contribute in a little to this great, like a yagya kind of jnana yagya thing. So once again, thank you so much for your kind participation, sir, and sharing your valuable ideas on this special occasion. Thank you.
Yeah, good afternoon to you all who had joined for this afternoon. And first of all, thank you. I'd like to thank Sri Aurobindo Society, particularly Dr. Kishor, who had invited me for this wonderful session on this heritage. Am I audible?
Yes, please, sir.
Okay. So we have seen quite some information about from the previous speakers. My presentation on that topic would like to share on specifically on natural heritage point of view. I like to also of course, my presentation will also have some thing already discussed by previous speaker. Just quickly, I'd like to share my presentation. One second. So I couldn't allow Zoom to share your screen. Okay. One second. So I have to briefly quit and join back because my Zoom starting.
Yeah, please.
Yeah.
Please.
All right. Here it's okay. Is my slide visible?
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay, good. So as I said, I put it in the full screen. Okay, so well, we have seen also from the previous speakers that that particularly Pondicherry being very touristic, of course, with a very diverse, not only in terms of people from different states, but also very diverse in terms of biodiversity aspects. I'll just bring out some point of view in terms of in the context of natural heritage. Well, so most of you know, because many of the students have joined here, I just want to, especially new from our university, Pondicherry University, this is quite clear that Pondicherry is geographically, uh, isolated area, and then bringing it in the context of, particularly in heritage context, we have to be very particular what we are talking about. Pondicherry, as such, the main city here, also the Yanam or Karaikal, Mahi. But for today, I think when we are talking about mostly about the territory here in Pondicherry, we have seen from the previous speakers, particularly about the land cover, everything. So I just quickly skip those, but bringing out mainly what it means natural heritage. Most of you know that we have also heard now. So it's kind of the entirety of biodiversity, as you see in the slide, encompassing plant, animal, ecosystem, everything. So what exactly that would bring in terms of the government of Puducherry along with the Sri Aurobindo Society and other stakeholders, who are, as you all most of you know, that there is a great effort being done currently to bring in Puducherry as one of the heritage city under UNESCO. Of course, this is a long road, and perhaps maybe we are in the very early stage of bringing out that. I just want to bring that how it's a very long process. Of course, you can have a look at it in the World UNESCO website, what it means bringing a city into a heritage. It's there is a long list of criteria, as you see in the slide. I don't want to read through much of it, but rather why I bring this slide is that for most of you who are new, particularly the students who are here, who have joined this session, it's a huge effort that every city or every city which want to claim this UNESCO World Heritage List. There's a lot of components that includes, how much value traditional system involved in that city and so on. So we have in India many of those, and of course worldwide there are so many heritage city. But my idea to bring some focus for this session is particularly, as you see, point number 10. So one of the criteria or component is that heritage, in the sense bringing out natural habitat and in situ conservation, some kind of biological component, biodiversity and conservation efforts. So keeping in mind that it's not only the heritage as such, there are different components, as you all we have seen, the cultural part, and of course the infrastructures, and then the other component obviously is the biological natural parts. So all these put together makes one city really under the World Heritage List. And as we all know, many cities in India are part of World Heritage, UNESCO World Heritage Center, for example, Ahmedabad. And nearby also, well, there are cities as well as kind of, as you all know, kind of landmarks like Mamallapuram. This is one of the heritage sites. And of course, Western Ghats itself a heritage site in a different perspective. Um, for the students quickly, mainly that we know many heritage site, natural heritage site across the world, which has very unique characters in each of these sites. So just don't want to get into that detail, but rather bring it now focus to within India. Also, there are so many other sites, as we know, like I also mentioned Himalayan and so on. One of these sites in Assam that we are very famous for rhino. Coming to Puducherry itself, the topic for today, how we can integrate the, one of the component I listed at bringing it as a heritage or natural heritage. We have seen from other speakers the huge efforts which have been done in parallelly, not just as part of claiming this heritage site, but also in terms of research or academic perspective, and also cultural. There are a lot of options in Puducherry where there's, because of its main location in the coastal ecosystem, where there's very unique marine combination of other flora and fauna. Particularly, the marine has this mangrove forest, typical of Pondicherry main area. Not the least, the scenic beaches are one of the things which we know kind of can also host other marine lives like turtles and so on. So just skip the details of that. So for me, not just the beaches and coastal thing and biodiversity as such brings in a component of heritage. I will also bring out what other part of things like agriculture or ecotourism can bring in some kind of bring in sustainable way of developing into Pondicherry into a more heritage city. So for many, maybe these are not new, but just to get an idea about Pondicherry itself in terms of land use, and then know how we can use this effectively as part of heritage in terms of promoting tourism that includes ecotourism. There is obviously some potential by making use of particularly the culturable wastelands, and also the fallows. Of course, fallows, the land where the crops were not grown. So getting into some details of forest as such in Puducherry, that doesn't exist in terms of natural forest, but there is a little patch. Surprisingly, there is even Department of Forests where Puducherry lacks actually sufficiently in terms of classifying region as natural forest. But the Forest Department obviously, of course, it's there, and they are engaged in other way of trying to improve the green area in Pondicherry. So that is something in terms of bringing the other components. There are also parallel efforts where we can include the stakeholders. So as you see, these 4 areas within Pondicherry, the main region. So for some of you might be new, those who want to know Pondicherry, all these 4 regions across India. So Pondicherry is very scattered and isolated in Tamil Nadu, intermittent with Tamil Nadu area. And the green areas you see here on this, we have here, all the water bodies and forests. Forest in the sense, as we know, very little, not really, but it's just classified as lateral and swamp forest for Pondicherry. So I like to bring to the attention of mangrove specifically as part of promoting the cultural heritage, as also as part of academic and research perspective from the university, Pondicherry University's role into involving activity, also students, particularly from the Department of Ecology and Environment. Of course, also other colleagues of mine also involved, also the previous colleague, previous faculties associated with the department. I had worked on mangrove. I'll bring out some component. So why I'm bringing that, obviously there is so-called recorded forest area in the Pondicherry, which we can integrate into the ongoing efforts of bringing Pondicherry into World Heritage, but also combined with improving conservation efforts. So these, as a whole, in the effort to bring Pondicherry in the World Heritage map, our role as the university and academic, also students' participation in terms of dissertation or PhD could take part in this, obviously. So there is a lot of scope in improving the productivity of mangroves, and some of the studies already, there are quite many publications, well, not many in the sense in terms of promoting conservation, but rather more information or data pertaining to mangroves. So this is one such study which they have mapped with, I think, obviously with also Aurobindo Foundation, as you see. So the main message is the Pondicherry region south is breeding ground for aqua and fauna, and they have seen potential role to bring to promote mangroves. Of course, there's a lot things can be worked out as a continuity of the previous effort, and not just mangroves, but also other areas. That is, as we have also heard, this trees outside forest. So this is abbreviated TOF. And there is, again, a lot of potential area, the greening of Pondicherry urban area, that is tree outside forest. A lot of trees can be grown that as a whole could contribute to promoting the natural heritage and in different contexts. So there is already some data from Forest Survey of India, as you see, relative abundance of different trees. As we all would obviously, which can visualize, coconut is obviously the most abundant here in Puducherry. Not just in rural, but also if you see in urban area also coconut. Of course, moringa is also quite known in all the regions around Pondicherry, neem, and so on, mango. So these are the kind of major tree species. So when we want to promote urban greening, there's still a lot of scope for introducing other trees as well that might be useful for local community, and of course it should also match with cultural aspects. So that's why that's how the concept of ecotourism or sustainable tourism could be promoted by including different flora, fauna, and obviously at the end it all should match. It should be worked in tandem with other departments, say agriculture, forestry, university, and of course the NGOs, and like including societies like Sri Aurobindo Society. I think all put in table, we have a lot of things which can be worked out together to bring in different components within the World Heritage, and of course within that also promoting specific component like ecotourism. So this is something not new. As you can see, ecotourism involves different the green components or green nature, of course, low carbon footprint and all that. It's not new. So I just think. So one of the thing I would say, I think some of you might agree, or maybe there might be criticism. Eden Beach, as you all know, I think most of you might have visited in southern part of Puducherry, and recently, relatively recently, got one of the cleanest beaches in India with the blue, so-called blue flag tag. This is in Chinna Virambatn. So those who have not been there, I think would be a great opportunity to visit and have a look at how the effort, multi-stakeholder effort, could bring in at the end some kind of success story. I think this can be like a case where we can bring in like this heritage together, Pondicherry as a whole. So Blue Flag Beach is something is an ecotourism model that's kind of successfully obtained in terms of getting this label, and this is something can be extrapolated with other beaches. As we know, Pondicherry has several beaches like Pondi Marina and so on. But whichever beach which has potential to kind of get this kind of label would allow more help to promote more tourism, of course, more revenue and more, of course, it all have to be at the end sustainable. So I think those who have been there in Blue Eden Beach, you must be knowing it's actually indeed clean. I was there many times. But it's this kind of landmark in the Eden Beach. So last but not least, I'm just concluding with another perspective of how natural heritage can be also linked with agriculture, so-called agricultural as a natural heritage. I think this must be something for at least some of you knew, because this is also introduced not by UNESCO but Food and Agriculture Organization as established so-called globally important agricultural heritage system. So why I brought this also specifically, I myself, my core expertise in agricultural field or agroecology, would like to kind of bring in also this component as much possible. So we have seen mangroves, other natural thing in Puducherry. So this is somewhat, I would say, still not yet explored area in Puducherry perspective, so-called agricultural heritage system. So some including India, there are agriculture heritage system, as I think some of you might know, in Kerala or Kuttanad, below sea level farming is one of the agriculture heritage system. But that doesn't mean we can put everything into a heritage system. But what is there already existing in Puducherry, specific agriculture practice can be promoted, that can be a traditional knowledge and so on. So you could also go into look at more details into this website for this topic. So FAO already has recognized 74 system, 24 countries, that includes India, World Heritage. This is kind of map of agriculture heritage around the world. So if not in the main Puducherry, there might be option to link with the Mahe or Yanam or other Karaikal. So as I said, some of the agriculture heritage that includes Kuttanad, and some of those in India that includes also in Odisha one side Koraput traditional agriculture. So obviously, because historically also Pondicherry linked with many agriculture activities in the past, that includes crop growing diversified crops. But now what had happened is many things have moved towards mostly paddy system in Pondicherry. So if you go around Pondicherry, you might see everywhere rice, paddy fields. Okay, so but not just only paddy field, there are also other activities. One thing is kind of revisiting and bringing in back the old traditional knowledge of agriculture from Pondicherry perspective. One study that includes also from Pondicherry University, our previous faculty, Professor Poyamuli, had also carried out some analysis how Pondicherry area can have sustainable farming system, and obviously there is a lot of interest now specifically for Pondicherry promoting organic farming. And these have been brought already long back, almost 11 years back, showing that there is a great potential for promoting organic farming in the area compared to inorganic farming, which also obviously brings out more sustainability into that. All right, with that, I just kind of end my presentation and leave it later for any questions or discussions, if any, from the participants. All right.
Thank you so much, Professor Mathimaranchi, presenting the grand natural heritage of India, and especially focusing on the challenging factors to nominate Pondicherry as a World Heritage City.
Good evening, everybody. Today, the topic for my presentation is Pondicherry as a World Heritage City, Convention linking the protection of cultural and natural heritage. My present includes two things. One is World Heritage Mission and Convention, and second is a possibility of Pondicherry as a World Heritage City. What is World Heritage? World Heritage comprises natural and cultural sites that belong to all the people of the world, irrespective of the territory in which they are located. The concept of World Heritage was implemented by the United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization with an objective to encourage the identification, protection and preservation of cultural and natural heritage around the world considered to be of outstanding value to humanity. The Convention concerning the protection of World Heritage, The Convention concerning the protection of world cultural and natural heritage was adopted as an international treaty by UNESCO in 1972. The 5 C's of the World Heritage Convention are credibility, conservation, capacity building, communication, and communities. The credibility means strengthen the credibility of the World Heritage List as a representative and geographically balanced testimony of cultural and natural properties of outstanding universal value. Conservation is to ensure the effective conservation of World Heritage properties. Capacity building is to promote the development of effective capacity building measures, including assistance for preparing the nomination of properties to the World Heritage List for the understanding and implementation of the World Heritage Convention and related instruments. Communication is to increase public awareness, involvement, and support for World Heritage through communication. Communities is to enhance the role of communities in the implementation of the World Heritage Convention. The development in convention are in 1972 adoption of the Convention concerning the protection of the world cultural and natural heritage. In 1975, a rectification was done and the list of World Heritage in danger was created with establishment of the World Heritage Fund. In 1978, operational guidelines were given, and in 1992, a new category of sites is added as cultural landscapes. 377 sites listed in the first 20 years. In 1994, Global Strategy for a Balanced, Representative and Credible World Heritage List added. In 2002, inclusion of the 4 C's credibility, conservation, capacity building, and communication added. In 2007, inclusion of the 5th C as communities added. In 2014, the Okawanga Delta in Botswana was inscribed as 1000 site. And in 2018, the Warsaw Recommendation on Recovery and Reconstitution of Cultural Heritage added. 2022 was the 50th year of the convention. UNESCO World Heritage Mission includes to encourage countries to sign the World Heritage Convention and to ensure the protection of their natural and cultural heritage, and encourage state parties to the convention to nominate sites within their national territory for inclusion on the World Heritage List. As far as the possibility of the nomination of Pondicherry as a World Heritage is concerned, Pondicherry presents a vibrant cultural and natural heritage. As far as the cultural heritage of Pondicherry is concerned, it represents unique features of different forms of heritage, including oral traditions, festive celebrations, built heritage, archival collection, and natural and eco-cultural heritage. We find a rich tradition of handicrafts, woodcrafts, pottery, metalcraft, etc. Pondicherry refers to a cosmopolitan culture belonging to different castes, creeds, and religions that live here amicably. As per UNESCO's operational guidelines, for the implementation of the World Heritage Convention, UNESCO takes into consideration not just the built heritage, but also intangible heritage, such as the cultural value of the place. When we talk about the basic criteria mentioned in the 5 C's in the World Heritage Convention, we see how this city has provided the basic principles such as built heritage. ASI has listed Arikamedu. Arikamedu, the archaeological site, represents the oldest settlement with many empires, including Roman. Sir Mortimer Wheeler and Jane Mary Casual conducted an excavation in archaeological site of Arikamedu. The excavation done in this region presents major artifacts such as mortars, walled enclosures with ponds and drainage systems, pottery and amphor jars. It is also known as the earlier bead making centers in the Indo-Pacific region. Professor Venugopal has given a good introduction to this topic. As per the ASI list, Mulnatheshwar Swami Temple, Tirukudagudi Mahadev Temple, Swayambhunath Swami Temple, Ekambareshwara Temple, Vardaraja Perumal Temple, and Arikamedu are early historic sites and recognized by the Monuments of National Importance by ASI, Ministry of Culture, Government of India. Pondicherry houses many heritage buildings, comprising only Tamil style, French style, or a blend of both Tamil and French style, built in Gobert Avenue, including Sri Aurobindo Ashram, Rajanivas, Matriniketan, etc. Pondicherry presents one of the finest architecture style. One is the French and other is Tamil. One of the unique feature reflects the lifestyles and practices. And one of the unique feature of the Franco-Tamil heritage is also present here. Our Lady of Angel Churches Immaculate Conception Cathedral, and Basilica of the Sacred Heart of Jesus are some of the finest examples of the churches in Pondicherry. Natural heritage. Pondicherry also presents the coastal regions of Bay of Bengal and Arabian Sea. Pondicherry and Karaikal are located in coastal regions of Bay of Bengal, and the Mahe region is situated on the estuary of the Mayazi River and Arabian Sea. Yanam region is located apart from the coastal area. The rich natural heritage of Pondicherry includes beaches, sand dunes, ports, fishing harbors, towns, villages, tourist resorts, prawn culture, private coconut, eucalyptus plantation, etc. Sand beaches, sand dunes, and mangroves sustain unique ecosystem. The natural heritage connects South India with Southeast Asia, East Asia and presents the maritime heritage and trade settlement. As per UNESCO's operational guidelines for the implementation of the World Heritage Convention, UNESCO takes into consideration not just the built heritage but also intangible heritage such as the cultural value of the place. Sri Aurobindo Ashram, located on Rue de la Marine, was founded by Sri Aurobindo and the mother in 1926. For those who sought the spiritual life and were drawn by their philosophy, the ashram mainly refers to the main ashram building, where the samadhi of both spiritual leaders is. The institution has facilities all around the town. These buildings are grey and often have a distinct appearance, adding to the city a unique flavor. Sri Aurobindo Ashram is not only a unique spiritual institution of great importance, but also a melting pot for several nationalities, identities, and cultures as devotees across the globe visit the ashram. Auroville, sometimes refers to as the City of Dawn, is conceived for 50,000 inhabitants from around the world. At the center stands the Matri Mandir, the soul of the city, a place for individual silent concentration. This land was earlier called Vedpuri, the center for the study of Vedas. In the contemporary scenario, we find the existence of a few Gurukulas in Pondicherry, where the study of the Vedas is being implemented. The Jiva Samadhi tradition is considered as one of the major spiritual destinations. The Shaiva manuscripts of Pondicherry is included in the World UNESCO's Intangible Memory of the World Register. There are a rich number of manuscripts and inscriptions that presents a record of the intangible knowledge system. It also houses many significant fairs, festivals, crafts, and living cultural practices. Masi Magam is a major festival of South India. Union Territory of Puducherry comprises the cultural and natural heritage, and there is a tremendous scope to include this heritage under the UNESCO World Heritage City tag, followed by the guidelines of World Heritage Convention. Pondicherry government has notified 114 buildings in the French and Tamil quarters, in the Boulevard and Protected Heritage Buildings, State Level Heritage Committee and Advisory Committee. I would also like to present the projects we are doing. We are working on research, publication, awareness programs as part of Sri Aurobindo Society, Pondicherry, for the preservation of heritage and promotion of tourism and intangible cultural heritage. We are working on redesign and development of museums, training and capacity building programs for the museum professionals. We are doing documentation of heritage sites and monuments, and creation of a digital repository is in process. As part of intangible cultural heritage, we are working on a project Gurukul, which includes documentation and preservation of Vedic chanting as intangible cultural heritage and also outreach programs. This is our upcoming program, Capacity Building and Training for Artists and Cultural Professionals. This is on 1st June. We have started a project, India and the World, under the International Cultural Relations Initiatives, with an objective to explore the age-old historical and socio-cultural relations between India and other countries, based on research, publication, interaction, collaboration, and cultural exchange programs. We have already done 3 programs under this. One is India-US relation, second is contribution of Sufan Singh for intercultural understanding with special reference to the works of Sri Aurobindo and the Mother, and third is India-Central Asia civilizational linkages. And our upcoming program is International Conference on India and France with special reference to Pondicherry. We also collaborated with Pondicherry Heritage Festival recently, and we did some symposiums under that collaboration. One is Cultural Heritage Conservation and Sustainability with reference to Pondicherry. Another is Tamil Heritage, Linguistics, Cultural and Socio-Economic Advancement. Symposium on Sri Aurobindo on Indian Cultural Heritage. And also we were part of awareness program for school and college students. Bal Sanskriti is one of the major project of AuroBharati, which is towards creativity and integral development. I hope the rich heritage of Pondicherry can be preserved, sustained with the collaborative effort by the government, private organizations, stakeholders. We welcome you all for your support for this noble initiative. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Charu, for presenting the UNESCO's convention and the guidelines for the inclusion of a heritage site or a heritage city. There are many sectors which needs to be addressed, including the tentative list, the state parties, the preparation of the dossier, which are the technical parameters for the submission of a proper element, specific elements to the UNESCO. And in your presentation, you have given special emphasis on the tangible and intangible cultural heritage, because these are the integral part of the sustainability of a cultural tradition. And we will discuss more about this. And thank you so much for your presentation. May I now request Dr. Chauveji, are you there? Okay, I think due to some technical issue, is not connected. Anandiji, are you here? Anandiji?
Can you hear me? I'm here.
Yeah, please, on your video, yeah, say.
Yeah.
Yes, please continue.
So shall I start with my presentation?
Yeah, please.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, please continue.
So thank you for inviting me for this event. So I'm going to talk about specifically on the urban heritage of the Tamil town and the changes that's been happening drastically which if we do not address it today, we are going to lose a lot of our heritage, and the world becoming a World Heritage City, Pondicherry becoming a World Heritage City will become a dream. So this is a wake-up call for all of us. So yeah. Since nobody talked about the history of Pondicherry in detail, I take the liberty of talking a bit. So Pondicherry, when before even the French arrived, Pondicherry was occupied by Portuguese, Dutch, and the Danes for a very short period of time. But they were not successful in establishing a settlement as the French did. The French succeeded in establishing a settlement, and they built a fort called Fort Borla, which is the Badi Park today that we have. So the fort has got demolished by the English, so now it has become a Badi Park for us. So Badi Park is a very, very important area in terms of the historical layers. And so yeah, if you see the upper part, the Tamil town is still a squatter settlement with predominantly with huts and so there's not much of a development there. So only after the French came, slowly things started developing. So this also did not last for a very long time because the Dutch occupied the place. So only the Dutch were able to kind of come up with the plan. So this is the Dutch plan of the town in the 1796 or something like that. So the Dutch planned the town as Tamil town and French town, which is they had planned it as Black town and White town. So now we call it as Tamil town and French town. And they separated the streets in terms of occupation. So like for weavers, potters, farmers, goldsmith, coppersmith. Even today we see potters in Ambalathadayar Madam Street outside the central jail. So those are all remnants of the past. Can you hear me? Hello?
Yes, we can hear.
Yes, please continue.
Yeah, okay, yeah. So yeah, still you can see the remnants of the past in the Ambalathadayar Madam Street, where potters are still selling their goods outside the central jail. So these are some of the intangible heritage that we still have in the Tamil town. So this was the plan by the Dutch. So this is the vibrant map of which each street was aligned for farmers, potters, weavers, goldsmith, coppersmith, betel nut sellers, and different occupation. So when the French occupied the town with the Treaty of Ryswick, which they made with the France and between the Dutch had already implemented their plan in the northern side. So the northern part, which is currently the Hindu quarter, was already got implemented. So when the French came, they adopted the Dutch plan and they went ahead with it. So it was completely a Dutch vision of what we are seeing today. And then, though the Dutch planned as based on the occupation, they did not plan based on the religion, but the French planned it accordingly, the Hindu, Christian, and the Muslim quarter. So this is the map representing it. So I'm focusing on the Tamil town. So when we see the Tamil town, Tamil people were always hospitable, and that reflected in their architecture. So we had the Thalvaram. Thalvarams play an important urban element in the Tamil quarter, because people can walk under the Thalvaram without getting affected by the sun or the rain. So they were able to cross streets peacefully. And travelers who used to visit Pondicherry by walk those days were greeted with hospitality, and they were allowed to stay in the Thinnai. So people used to host the travelers. So that much the hospitality was there in those days. So, and then we have the Muttram. Muttram is the courtyard. So throughout the day we had that, sunlight and ventilation. And then the architecture was predominantly a vernacular architecture with a combination of flat and pitched roof. But when we see the Franco-Tamil culture, so this is the confluence of the French and the Tamil culture. So these buildings were predominantly built by merchants who worked with the French, or they had some sort of an association with the French. So it was a kind of a status symbol for them to build, have a first floor and then have the elements of the French architectural features in the first floor. So that is why the ground floor still has the Tamil architecture features of Thalvaram, Thinnai, and the Muttram, which is a courtyard. And the first floor has French architecture features, which is the louvered windows, colonnettes, high arched openings, and pot balusters, which we can see in the French town also. So since this is a history, I'm just giving a short interlude. So Subramania Bharati and Sri Aurobindo played an important role in sparking the fire of independence amongst the Puducherrians. So until then, people were like, not very vocal about their voices. They were not vocal about their needs and requirements. So it was them who sparked that fire in them. So this is the pro-merger thing. And then Nehru coming and signing the treaty with the French. So So after Pondicherry joined India, so this is a very important crux point, I would say. So Pondicherry had lots of benefits and importantly tax relaxations. So because of that, the economy of Pondicherry slowly improved in terms of selling goods and materials for lesser rates. So this sort of changed the urban narrative in the boulevard town, especially in the Nehru Street, because when the French was there, only the market was the commercial area. The rest of the place were residential. But when we got independence and things changed drastically, so slowly the other buildings in the Nehru Street started getting commercialized. So Nehru Street was the first gentrified street in Pondicherry. So previously known as Duque Street, and then it was named as Jawaharlal Nehru Street. So the residents left the street for commercials. So there are hardly one or two residences in Nehru Street today, and people live somewhere inside in the like in a garage. So that is the scenario. Slowly, because of it was because of the market that the areas, the streets surrounding the market became gentrified. So that was the first sign of change in the Tamil town. So this is in 1988, Jawaharlal Nehru Street. So as I said, the whole street got gentrified and became a commercial street. So this is the breaking point, Pondicherry at the crossroads. So how did we become the way we are today? This changed the narrative of Pondicherry totally. So when Pondicherry had a low tax regime, with the uniform sales tax throughout the country in the year 2000, 2002 and something like that, Pondicherry had to look after other options, because selling goods and materials at lower rates and people coming to, people from neighboring states coming to Pondicherry just to buy goods and materials at lower taxes reduced, because it's going to be uniform sales tax throughout the country. So Pondicherry government looked for other alternatives, and they had to focus on tourism. So that is when the tourism got its central focus. Till then it was never focused. So as a part of focusing on the tourism, restorations started happening. Restorations of hotels in Frenchtown, and then facade restoration in Vaishal Street, which we got an award, UNESCO award. So all these things changed the course of direction of Pondicherry. So this is a statistical data of tourism growth in Pondicherry from 2010. It has very steadily and steeply increased from 2010 to 2017, and even increased now because of 2 years of COVID break. It got dipped, and then 2022 they say 19 lakh people visited Pondicherry. So there's a very steady growth. So yeah, with the steady growth of tourism, the Tamil town especially, the French town, there are already lots of initiatives being taken to manage the crowd or manage the tourist, and also preserve the heritage of the French town. So even today, the 114 heritage buildings that's been notified are predominantly from the French Quarter. So that's because there are different reasons for it. That one is because of the ashram, and second is the government buildings, and the third is the church and its institutions. So all these three categories, a predominant of buildings come under these categories. So a lot of buildings are being already protected. Sadly, the truth is, even though we have got independence from the French, but still we are not able to protect the heritage in the Tamil town. But the heritage of the colonizers are still protected. But that's a very sad state of affairs. So yeah, coming to the mass tourism issues. So because of tourism and unplanned commercialization in the Tamil town, because nobody cares about what comes where, traffic congestion, and two-wheeler rentals for tourists, all these things have made the Tamil town residents to fence their building. So this is a beautiful heritage building, but that has been fenced. Earlier, people used to walk under the Thalvaram and pass by without getting drenched in rain, or just not being affected by the harsh sun. But that's not the case today. Each and every building is being fenced because of the fear that somebody would occupy the place, create nuisance to the place, or just park their vehicles inside. So this is the kind of change that's happened over the period of time, and that has created a very bitter experience for the residents who are living in the Tamil town. So this is the heritage building being demolished. So here, if you see, half of the building is being demolished and half is just left as it is. This is because of asset partition. So asset partition is also a very main criteria for the demolition of heritage buildings. So this we need some sort of a regulation to sort of come up with, to prevent all these, or at least partly protect the facade, and then give a leeway for the residents to conveniently design their building without affecting their heritage fabric. So these are things that we need to focus on in the long run. So when we say the heritage building demolition, there are two categories why the heritage buildings are being demolished or becoming deteriorated in the Tamil town specifically. One is the Franco-Tamil owner. So people who are living in France have their ancestral property here. So they don't visit often, so the building gets deteriorated over time. And the next is owners deliberately locking their building, and so that they can demolish the building for asset partition or just to build a commercial. So they deliberately lock and leave the building to deteriorate on its own and say that it is weak and it has got it has become weak and it has to be pulled down and there's no choice. So that's the kind of narrative that is and that is what is happening in the Tamil town in terms of heritage buildings. Another thing is the quality of life in the Tamil town. So because of this mass tourism and over commercialization, I would say, because when we see Venice and Barcelona, it's only mass tourism. The case of managing the tourist only comes as a task or as a problem, but that's not the case with us. We have two problems here. We have over commercialization or maybe unplanned commercialization. So anything can come anywhere. A bar, a disco club, or a resto bar can come in a residential area, and nobody can question that. So a lot of these things, and also tourism amenities. Every street in the Tamil town has a restaurant, a hotel, or a bar, or all the three of them in each and every every quarter. So these are things that needs to be addressed as soon as possible. Otherwise, we will lose the destination, and the very charmful and beautiful Pondicherry, which invited a lot of people, will lose its charm, and the same thing would become a bane for Pondicherry in the long run. So some of the things that we need to focus on in terms of heritage regulations is property tax abatements, transfer of development rights, so that the heritage building owner can transfer of given a transfer of development rights, and they can have a property outside the boulevard town, and they can be given a leverage to go for an extra floor or something like that, so that people still have the hold on to the heritage building. Otherwise, they're going to sell it to a commercial brand or any commercial store, and they're going to completely destroy and come up with a new building which is out of context. So these are sustainable development goals to protect the heritage area of Pondicherry, particularly the Tamil town, because the French town, I would say, is much more safer, and it's much more in safer hands of the government. So yeah. The slides are not changing. Is it changing now?
Yeah, now it is okay.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, there are three main goals, I would say, which is the goal one is to understand, preserve, and protect. Goal two is promote, expand, and celebrate. Goal three is collaborate, fund, and manage. So all these three goals should be focused, and we need committees which are completely dedicated to conserve the heritage areas of Pondicherry, not just the boulevard, but also the heritage areas outside Pondicherry. So this can be done by creating a Pondicherry Heritage Cell, a Pondicherry Heritage Tourism Committee, which only focuses on heritage tourism and nothing else, and the state level Heritage Conservation and Advisory Committee, which is already existing. But still, we need a lot of amendments and policies to protect the heritage area, especially the Tamil town, for the future generations. So there are lots of action plans, strategies and action plans, and it can be discussed and over discussed. Some of them are like Pondicherry Heritage Skill should come up with a knowledge and planning tool and create awareness about the cultural heritage of the place, and also have an effective preservation policy and regulation are included in the Comprehensive Development Plan 2036. The Comprehensive Development Plan 2036 particularly has to be revisited because the recent plan that we have, the 2036 plan, it has proposed the Tamil town has completely a commercial area. So which should not be done, which should be changed. And we should bring it to the notice of people who really want to change the conservation scene of the Tamil town. Promote and celebrate the heritage of Pondicherry with the stakeholders. Though we are doing Pondicherry Heritage Festival and other festival events, but still the local population is not involved as much as it should be involved. So we need to get more people. We need to get in touch with the residents. Only then we'll be able to see a change in conserving the Tamil heritage.
Anandiji, sorry to disturb you. Can you please finish 5 minutes so then we can have a discussion on this?
Yeah, 2 minutes. Yeah. So yeah, Pondicherry Heritage Tourism Committee. We should have heritage effective tourism policies and regulations. And increase the visibility of Pondicherry's cultural heritage sites and events, which is not being done, especially for the Tamil town. Nobody knows what is in Tamil town to visit. And establish a memorandum of understanding with banks and corporates and other funding agencies to fund and manage heritage tourism. So state level heritage conservation committee should specifically focus on the Hafasa development that's been happening, especially in the Tamil town. New developments and change of land use should be allowed based on the assessments of the neighborhood and street character. Ensure bars, disco, and other commercial activities that might potentially disturb the quality of life of the residents are not allowed in the residential area. And incentivize heritage building owners through property tax abatements, subsidized loans, and transfer of development rights to protect the cultural heritage assets from demolition. Okay, thank you for giving me the opportunity to present this for the International Monuments Day. I hope I have not taken a lot of time.
No.
Sorry if I've taken.
No, it's fine. Thank you so much, Anandiji, for presenting the architectural heritage of Pondicherry. And especially when we talk about evolution of culture in the urban regeneration process, a lot of changes and challenges are there, like new constructions, as well as protecting and preserving the old buildings and the architectural setups. These are the really challenging sectors, and you have very meticulously and very beautifully explained through the visual presentations how the city's architecture heritage can be sustained, can be preserved. And especially those guidelines or the suggestions which you have given, these are really unique actually. When we talk about the ministry as the nodal agency for implementing, whether it is culture or heritage, their objective is to work from the grassroots level and to make it in the international level. So when we talk about the international city or international heritage site or city, many parameters needs to be addressed. And thank you so much for presenting. We will have a proper lecture of yours so that you can present these ideas. And now I request, we have listened to all of you, and Dr. Chaube, due to some technical difficulty, was not able to join, and he has sent a message that he will share his recordings. We will add and properly make a video so that we'll share with you. So now I request the audience, our learned, esteemed audience from different institutions to kindly share their views. Any discussions we can have a few minutes, please. Gayatri ji is from the State Nodal Officer, Ministry of Tourism, Government of India. Richa Tiwari ji professor from the Pondicherry University, and many other dignitaries are there. So I request all of you to kindly join for this interactive session on this important subject, please. Gayatri, would you like to say something on this?
Namaskar to all the dignitaries present over here. It was an insightful session to hear all of you on this occasion of World Heritage Day. I would like to present my gratitude to Tripathy sir and Charu ma'am for giving me a time to speak some words on this day. On the process of making Puducherry as the World Heritage City, it is essential to know that it is an individual as well as a collaborative approach to get aware of our heritage and natural heritage, and as well as the cultural heritage places of Puducherry, and to spread the word also. So I would just like to share you the initiative taken by the Ministry of Tourism with collaboration of Ministry of Culture and Archaeological Society of India. Adopt a heritage, where we are promoting a heritage place to get adopted by a public sector or a corporate sector or by NGOs to maintain and operate the heritage places. And there is a for Puducherry specifically, we have many guides for whom we are doing many capacity building programs, which is directly helping them for engagement of the local communities to get
Your voice is not audible, Gayatri. No, it's not. I think it's, yeah, now it is okay.
Sir, can you hear me?
Yes, please continue.
Yes. So I would like to share information.
Yes, please.
About the, one second. I'm sharing my screen, please. Let me know if you can see. Yes. This is Incredible India Tourism Facilitator Certification Program, which is an initiative from the Ministry of Tourism, Government of India, for all the citizens of India to become a part of the booming tourism industry. It is an online program which can be learned at any place with our pace, and after completion of this program, Ministry of Tourism will certify as a certified tourist facilitator to the individual. So one can apply in the given link mentioned over here, https://iitf.gov.in/, and for any queries you can drop me a mail at my mail id gayatri.indiatourism@gmail.com. I am sharing my Gmail ID also in the chat box, so that for any queries regarding this certification program, you can write it down to me. As I have already mentioned earlier also, Ministry of Tourism has taken many infrastructural projects like Swadesh Darshan, in which Swadesh Darshan 1.0 we have covered many heritage sites, development of the heritage sites in Puducherry, like revitalization of heritage buildings, then lighting of heritage areas and monuments, like in Bharati Park, it is well illuminated now, you can all witness that. Revitalizations of streetscapes in heritage area of the French Quarter, and many other amenities are developed in all the heritage area of Puducherry. I would like to conclude my talk. Anyone can ask any queries. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Gayatri, for presenting the ministry's initiatives. We understand the ministry of, whether it is the Ministry of Tourism and whether Ministry of Culture, they are the nodal agencies to address the important issues like World Heritage programs, the Memory of the World Register, safeguarding the cultural heritage, and the works through the state nodal agencies of Department Culture and Tourism. This is really one of the unique initiatives in Puducherry region, the way Ministry of Tourism and Culture, they're expanding their work in preserving the cultural and the natural heritage. This is really unique. And we're happy to collaborate with Ministry of Tourism. Recently, we had 2 events on the International Women's Day. We had a symposium on measuring women's contribution. And recently, the Society hosted an event in collaboration with the Ministry of Tourism that is experiencing India through cultural and spiritual tourism. And we will be very happy to work on more areas, including connecting the community culture, expanding the more tourist activities in schools, colleges, and universities, and hope it will be a good platform to work in a collaborative manner. Okay, any other views or any questions or any suggestions? Because today is the International Day for Monuments and Sites. We are celebrating it. It's a festive celebration. So I hope through these festive celebrations, new ideas will come up and maybe something new will, because this year's theme is the heritage changes. So what changes we exactly want from this beautiful land? So suggestions or any, whatever it is welcome.
So just briefly, may I?
Yeah, please, sir.
Yeah. So as we all saw, it was very. I hope others will also would agree. It was very informative and diverse content we had, particularly on this Day of Heritage, World Heritage Day of Monument. But with all that information, particularly also from the historical perspective, Ms. Ananthi presented about what it means earlier heritage buildings and now how it is fast changing. I think this topic needs even a separate session how to do conservation and protect from fast, probably rapid changing due to increased tourists. And in addition to that, particularly with regard to Arikamedu site, so are there any initiative that is known with among the perhaps maybe Ms. Gayatri as coordinator or from anywhere who can share that any efforts that is ongoing to kind of bring Arikamedu into a more kind of site that can be renovated or bring into more tourist attraction, because that seems to be more important in the path of bringing a consensus or coordinated efforts.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. We are taking quite measures to bring the heritage site into a functional way to preserve the heritage sites. In coordinating with the State Department of Puducherry Government, Department of Tourism, and many other organizations, Archaeological Survey of India, as well as from the Ministry of Tourism, we are taking many efforts to make the heritage well conserved and preserved and to promote that. And I would also request everyone, it is again an individual responsibility to conserve, preserve, and make awareness of the Arikamedu site to our people, local people, and to the tourist. I would like to add one initiative which has already been very successfully carried out in all across India is our Yuva Tourism Club, where we are taking school children, youths from the college and institutes to the heritage places, and we are educating them and imparting them the value of the heritage places, the monuments and the sites, how it can be well conserved and preserved. And they can also spread the word at their home, to their friends, and to the to everywhere in the social media, to take care of the heritage. Thank you.
Okay, I think that is very important aspect, bringing in already the school children into the concept of
Yes,
heritage,
yes.
so that it builds upon from the basics. Yeah.
Yes.
Hello. I have got some one or 2 points, which I think the slides could not be completed in the initial stage. So will it be okay if I talk some 1 or 2 points
sir,
about
sir, please, sir, most welcome.
Out of that 8 slides, probably you could show only 3 slides, I was told. I came to know. So abruptly it was stopped. I don't know what the reason. Anyway, so I'll just try to complete, because I got a problem with the laptop. So I just orally will tell that one. I already mentioned that Arikamedu can become a World Heritage Site if it is included in one of the 3, let's say, transnational World Heritage Sites, which the Silk Road, Project Museum, and Spice Route Initiative. And for your information, in 2010 itself, the tentative Arikamedu was included as one of the 12 sites from India to be included as part of the Silk Road World Heritage Site. Proposal has gone already, and it is in principle, it is in the tentative list. The first stage of World Heritage Site is tentative list, from which only finally the one. And it's already there in 2010. You can imagine 12 years back, Arikamedu is included as one out of the 12. But the problem is that the proposals from India of the tentative list is stuck up in the UN system from 2010 onwards because of some international geopolitical reasons, which is beyond our control. So the control of the government of the people of Pondicherry as well as the government is to put it to the national level, which is already done. 2010 it is done. But the problem is that in case, let's say, we get the Silk Road initiative, we will be in our 12 sites will be included. Let's say, hopefully in future thing. Then so much work has to be done. So anticipating this one, they can take a leaf out of the Kerala project of Spice Route initiative. It started with a purely state government initiative, started way back in 2006. Can you imagine? 2013, the Chinese Belt and Road World Heritage oriented things started, and 2014 only Project Mosam started as a translator. Before that, in 2010, the state government, small state government like Kerala has taken initiative and brought it. But unluckily for us, again, because of the international and national politics, because Kerala is always in the wrong side of the central government politics, etc., this project could not get the collaboration of the prime institution like Archaeological Survey of India. Because anyway, from 2006 onwards, this project has been there, and it is adopted by UNESCO because of success by the state government to be in the pipeline. So what I'm telling you, there are 2 pipeline projects already in the pipeline. So Pondicherry can already in the Arikamedu is already in the national list of tentative list. But it is stuck up, as I mentioned, because of the Chinese influence on the world heritage scene. And another point is that again, the Project Mosam, which is supposed to be the largest project from Indian context, compared to the Chinese oriented Silk Road project, is stuck up again with a short time duration. Now I was told that the time of the project is extended 2 years. So it is not a regular, continuous project-oriented mode from the government of India. So lack of political will from and the geopolitical things are hampering. But leaving aside this one, let's say that is beyond your control, the state government control, the people of Pondicherry as well as this one, and since almost all the speakers has mentioned there is a need for a tourism-oriented heritage project. We can say heritage tourism project. That is exactly being done on the Mussoorie heritage. They have started initially as a project, then later a research project. Now it is a company. A tourism company has been established for the last many years to man this project. So they're taking so much effort. What I'm telling that one, suggesting the Pondicherry people and the government to take initiative from the example very nearby and work for it and do the work, so that rest the central government and the UNESCO, whatever, let them do their work. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. B. Venugopalanji, for informing that the Arikamedu site is already in the UNESCO's endangered list, and the initiatives which were started, and Dr. B. Venugopalanji was part of many of the ministries' important committees in terms of implementing the policies, the working groups, dossiers. In 2014, when the yoga was nominated to UNESCO to be included in the Intangible Cultural Heritage List, I was part of the subgroup advisory board. And we worked, 7 people worked for 3 to 4 months to prepare the dossier, the videos, the recommendations, etc. And I'd just like to add something here, that the Archaeological Survey of India is planning to have a site museum near the Arikamedu site. This is one of the unique initiatives, because each heritage, that's a World Heritage Site, must have a site museum. And recently we came to know that ASI is planning to have a site museum in Arikamedu site. That place will be more lively to interact to another culture. This is a small addition to that. Madhumita ji wants to ask a question to Ananti ji. Please, madam. Please raise.
Okay.
Am I audible, sir?
Yes, please.
Actually, I'm a BDS intern from Venkateshwara College. So actually, we were planning to celebrate the World Monument Day in our college, but due to time constraints, we couldn't. But accidentally, I came upon your session, and it was very informative, sir. So big kudos to the Sri Aurobindo Society for conducting a session like this. And my question is to ma'am, to Anandi ma'am. Ma'am, actually, even you spoke very detailedly about the Tamil architect and about the French town. So, being a resident of a Tamil architectural place, my house was actually a first housing board built by Pondicherry government. So my house still has the old, as you mentioned, the muttram and everything. So, but when we renovated our house due to our own personal needs a few years back, we tried to contact so many architects regarding how to conserve the old architecture and still renovate in a which provides modern facilities as well. But I don't know if at those time there weren't much insight into the policies that you mentioned as a slide, ma'am. It's not a question, it will be actually a suggestion. Can you actually, as an architect and a freelance counselor, can you elaborate more on this in another session? It would be great. Or could you advertise more about, to provide more insight to people like us who doesn't know who's the right person to contact while renovating old architectures?
Sure. That is something that we need to do a lot, actually. Even in terms of design guidelines, a guidebook for the heritage building owners will also do a lot of help to them, because they don't need architects for each and every small thing. So if it's a small issue in their building, if they can address it, that could be a guideline which can be created and given to heritage building owners, so that they can address the issue by themselves with the help of the contractors. So that can also be done, and that should be done, in fact, because there's very less knowledge sharing in terms of conserving the heritage buildings to the owners. So a lot of Tamil heritage building owners don't know how to deal with the issues of the heritage building. Like, they might have termite issues, they might have dampness in their building because they are constructed in lime. So there are lots of such issues which can be made as a guideline, and whenever when the issues are bigger, then conservation architects can come into the scene and take over. So small things can be done by the owners themselves. So this is something I'm also thinking of in the long time. It should be done. It's necessary, in fact.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. I'm looking forward to more from you, ma'am. Thank you.
Sure. Yeah.
Madhumitaji, you can share your email ID so that we will be adding in your database, and whatever programs you are regularly organizing, you can access to those informations. And yeah, Mr. Gopiji, he is suggesting that we should have a tourism working group. Mr. Gopiji, you want to say something? Gopinathanji, he left. Oh, it's not there. Gopinathanji from the Ministry of Tourism, State Tourism Officer from Tamil Nadu. Gayatriji wants to say something on this regarding this working group on tourism, heritage working group.
Yes, sir. From the takings of today's wonderful session, from all the speakers and the presenters and people who have joined, we can make a working group who we will be engaged like every month or timely basis, and can work on the heritage places of Puducherry and make it a grassroots level change and create an impact regarding that. So if we are well connected and we are working together collaboratively, irrespective of our organizations and many things, then it can be in a impactful way. That is what I can say. With the association of Aurobindo Society, Tripathy sir and Charu ma'am, because they are the expertise in the culture and heritage in Puducherry. They have done a great work, and you all have also done many great achievements and practices in different sectors. So all together we can make a group and can work with all our informations and sharing and make it happen. That is what is the suggestion from our side.
Oh, this is really one of the unique findings of today's small gathering, because we hope it will be a nice platform to connect the communities, the people, many institutions, because in Sanskrit there is a saying, Sangha Sakto Kalo Yoge. That means in this Kali Yuga, if we have a unity, Sangha means a group of people. In a united way, we can do many things. So when we want to address such kind of difficult and specific issues, we hope in a combined way. And one of the 5 C's of UNESCO's World Heritage Convention is the communities. So there are many institutions. I like to say that in Pondicherry there are 700 schools, 100 colleges, more than 350 NGOs, listed NGOs under the NGO that they're working on many sectors. If we can combine all those and create a strong network, and we cannot believe that what kind of amazing changes we can bring to this land. Many things are happening in a very scattered way, and a unity and like creating a community culture is really needed, and we will be definitely work on it. Any other views or? So I would like to say something. Some technical issue happened in the beginning, so we are extremely sorry for this, because you'll be astonished. People from different parts of, like we had registrations from the Banaras Hindu University, Indira Gandhi Center for the Arts, from the National Cultural Fund, Indira Gandhi Center for the Arts. Many people they registered, but due to some technical issue, it was not. They were not able to join many people. And we will properly edit this video and share to all of them, those who are not able to join for this season. I'd like to say something. It was really a wonderful event, listening to the experts like Dr. B. Venugopalanji, Dr. Sasikant Das, Dr. Matimaran Natarajanji. He is a genius, especially working in the natural heritage sector, especially has international exposures, particularly preserving the natural heritage. And Charu Anandichi, Dr. Ashok Bhai, they addressed many of the significant and associated components when we talk about this heritage, Pondicherry as a heritage city. I'd like to say that the first necessity is to create a tentative list. Like the Pondicherry government now, they have announced 114 sites. But my observation is UNESCO's convention, it specifically emphasizes that the tentative list should focus on the natural heritage, including the cultural heritage. So I hope this list is in a development phase. Many of the natural sites, the natural heritage may be included into that. And a state party committee is needed, like this heritage advisory board the Pondicherry government has formed. And when we talk about the intangible cultural heritage basically the project initiated by the Ministry of Culture, is UNESCO's initiative, and Indira Gandhi National Center for the Arts was the nodal agency. Now it is part of the Sangeet Natak Academy, National Academy of Dance, Drama and Music. So when we talk about, like, there are 13 elements inscribed and approved by the UNESCO from the Indias, but apart from the 13 inscribed elements, there are many more items. Elements needs to be researched, explored, documentation, and the inventory has to be prepared. And in terms of Pondicherry specific, like we can have a subgroup advisory committee for the intangible cultural heritage things. And I would like to say a few two lines here. As all of you know, that Aurobindo Society is an international organization. It has been recognized by the Department of Science and Industrial Research as a research institution in social sciences, and it has its status as institution of national importance. And Aurobindo Society holds the United Nations Economic and Social Council status, ECO SOC status we have, and we have more than 300 branches all over India and some branches in abroad also. This, along with the society's initiative and education, health, rural development, we are also closely working on the cultural sector, as Gayatriji specifically mentioned. So we have started many projects, including the main project which we are working on, this documentation and creation of a digital repository of the monuments and heritage sites of Puducherry. That will be helpful for in purpose of research and publication purpose. We have also recently started one capacity building program, training and capacity building program for the artists and cultural professionals. I would like to just to say here, this is the National Capacity Building Program for Artists and Cultural Professionals. On 1st June 2023, we have started. And the main objective of this workshop to address the critical issues, how by using the local knowledge system the artist can survive, and how they can be part of the creative and cultural industries, like identifying individual artists and creative entrepreneurs with an objective in strengthening the creative economy. This is one of the focused and target areas of this workshop. So you may please share this information among the artists from visual arts, performing arts, literary, modern and the contemporary artist groups, so that those people, those professionals working on different streams, they can be part of this initiative. And it will also help us to to connect with the community culture. We have also an international cultural relations unit, and where the main objective is to connect India's relationship with other countries based on the vision of Maharishi Aurobindo. As you know, that Maharishi Aurobindo has given special insights to explore the rich and cultural heritage of Mother India. And the action is the twofold in nature. First is the diversity of cultural expressions, and second one is connecting India's relationship with other countries. So we are planning to have an international conference on the cultural, historical, cultural and bilateral linkages between India and France. Very soon we will announce that. And we are also planning to have an international conference on the Jiva Samadhi tradition It is one of the important subjects needs to be addressed in Puducherry region specific and southern India. There are more than 500 Jiva Samadhi sites, and many of the sites needs to be a renovation, like new constructions are also needed. Like preservation of that heritage is also one of the important aspects of this. And we are also planning to have many other programs, but we feel in a collaborative manner, like the Ministry of Tourism and Culture, they are the nodal agencies for implementation of many of the government schemes. And since I was part of the under the Ministry of Culture, I know how the ministry works in preparing the dossiers, in creating the groups, because their strategy is to start from the ground level and to reach it to up to the international level. You will see the mandate actually. So we are very much thankful to all the members, learning members, for sharing their creative ideas. When we planned this event, we invited 7 experts. Like it was like Dr. Matimaranji on the natural heritage, Charu focusing on the convention things, Anandiji is on the architecture things, Mr. Ashok Pandaji on the conservation thing, and Dr. Shashikanji presenting the how this evolution of culture, creating new identities. Because when this national mission for manuscript was started under the Ministry of Culture during the Atal Bihari Vajpayee's government, they created a slogan, "Save the past for the future." You'll find a very catchy sentence they created, and the National Mission for Manuscript, through their excellent services, they documented the entire literary heritage of India, which was formed in the manuscripts. And we hope in the culture and heritage, the scope is tremendous, like the ocean of opportunities we have. And especially when we talk about Pondicherry, like in such a small land, like an international city, you take the example of Aurobindo Society or the ashram, or one of the finest examples of Auroville, the city of the future. Like the target was to have the pavilions of all the different nations, where people from different parts of the world can live together in a peaceful manner. I think this is the message of heritage to the present and the future generations. And I welcome all of your participations, and especially for sparing your valuable time for today's event. And we will have a proper edited video of these recordings, and we will share with you. And we will meet again in some of our programs. We're planning to have a symposium on the International Day for Cultural Diversity in the next month. We will share the details soon, maybe with the Ministry of Tourism, Pondicherry University, they can be part of that. So with these few words, I would say thanks to all of you. Thanks for joining for this festive celebration. Namaste.
Thank you again for particularly Sri Aurobindo Society, Dr. Tripathy, Kishor Tripathy. It has been wonderful event in my view. I hope all would agree with that. And I think with that, on behalf of also the speakers and the participant, I thank for this opportunity, and we'll, I'm sure there's a lot we can continue to collaborate and work for a common cause. Thank you.
Definitely, sir. We will do that because, yeah, thank you so much, Nandri. Nandri, sir. Namaste.
Thank you. It was a very good presentation.
Right.